Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Boxing Coalition. My name is Cam, and joining me as ever we have Kimo and Leon. I hope you guys are well. Kimo, lines in the camp. Lines in the camp.
Mate, it's fucking lines in the camp, innit? And I just want to say, man, there's been a lot of people bugging me lately about doing a fucking show, so you guys are finally getting what you wanted. And I couldn't think of a better time than after this tremendous fight. So
to be fair, we should kind of take some of that shit, because we did slack and kind of miss a month last month. But can you blame us, man? Boxing, apart from a handful of fights, has been pretty rubbish. I say it almost every episode, but that's how I feel, so I speak my mind. But Kimo, you start us off then, because we kind of well, I personally didn't think this fight, Yarde versus Kovalev, would happen. I thought some shit would happen with these court cases Kovalev had going on in the States with some of the shit he's been getting up to, and you know how Warren and the WBO boss pally and always seem to fight for vacant titles, and I just didn't see it happening. Before I get your opinion, I do want to say that before the fight, people were saying, "Oh, you got to give Yarde props for taking the fight," and I'm on the fence about that comment, because I do rate him taking the fight beforehand because of his inexperience. However, he fought for WBO trinket belts, like internationals and all these bullshit belts that he had around his waist, and they get you the points that help you climb the ladder to get into a mandatory position. So why am I giving him props to fight a fight he's been trying to get? Like, it doesn't kind of make sense. So that's how I've kind of felt before the fight, when people are saying, "Oh, you got to give him props to going to Russia to fight Kovalev." Not really. He's brought that upon himself. Like, why would you get yourself into mandatory and then say, "You know what, I don't want to fight for the title"? It just makes those couple of years of effort, don't make sense. So anyway, sorry for my little start of the rant show, but what did you think of the fight, and what did you think of your homie Tunde?
Well, actually, Cam, I think you make a fantastic point there, and I'd like to actually start with that, because first of all, what you said about him gunning for this opportunity, yeah, you're right, and I wouldn't necessarily call it putting effort. I mean, I don't call beating up trash cans, putting effort, but obviously they managed to weasel their way into a world title fight. I don't know how the fuck they did it. I mean, Warren obviously has some tricks still up his sleeve. The old fish eyes, at his old age, still manages to do it. But he was absolutely not fucking entitled, to this world title shot. It's complete horseshit, obviously. He hasn't earned it. He didn't move up the ranks correctly. And he didn't beat anybody of note. Now, for the people that all of a sudden come out and say, "Oh, you have to give him props, you have to give him props." Listen, mate. I'm not going to give anybody fucking props, first of all, for taking a world title shot and getting a shitload of money. Does anybody know how much he got for this fucking fight?
I didn't see any purses, but with him being
$4 million, I heard.
How much?
$4 million was the...
Okay. Well, that already, if that's the case, I mean, I'm guessing it's probably around that. If the step-aside money is $1 million, I can imagine that the purse would be a little bit above that, right? Shut the fuck up. Who wouldn't take that fight? You wouldn't take a fight for $4 million, and for a world title shot against a 36-year-old guy who you're delusional enough to believe that you can beat. So, what props am I going to give him? He hadn't even stepped into the ring yet. Yes, did I believe that the fight was probably not going to happen and some fuckery would appear? Absolutely, 100%. That's what it looked like. That's what it fucking smelled like. He went there and did it. I'll take my hat off to him, at least that he stepped into the ring and fought a good fight, and that's what we'll talk about in a little bit. But to give a guy props for merely taking a fucking fight, I mean, you're kind of pushing here. Yeah, I'm happy. Obviously, I said from day one, if this happens, I'll be happy to see it. I'm definitely gonna fucking watch it. Right? I told everybody this is like must-see TV for me. There's so many unknowns, and I was hoping for some high drama, and it was very likely that this would happen. And I think the fight actually delivered way more than what we expected. So in that sense, I'm happy. But to come out and say like, "Oh, we need to give Yarde props. We need to give Yarde," shut the fuck up, man. Seriously, like What are you talking about? The guy went and got a fat fucking paycheck, yeah, and he had an opportunity to do something that he believed in. So am I supposed to give him a standing ovation for that? Whatever, man. I would have given him more props if he actually, beat up legit fucking title contenders at the national, European, and even international level before getting into this and actually building up a resume where I can, correctly say, you know what, this guy has skill, this guy has everything he needs to get ready for a world title shot. I can see it here. The resume has been built up correctly. Go for it. But he didn't fucking do that, right? He took a shortcut and, gloriously it backfired a little bit. But yeah, you want to talk about the fight, Cam?
Just, Leon, do you want to add anything about Yarde taking the fight, or should we just go straight into the fight?
I agree with both you guys. Like, if you take up the position, like, and then that's the fight that's being offered to you for the champion, that's how it, that's how the kind of mechanics of it works. So going for someone's backyard has a certain ring to it, and it's a good look. I think everyone's impressed when you go away from, any fighter goes away from home to take on a champion is, think, oh, wow, fair play to you, you're taking a chance to go to someone's backyard. But that goes for any fighter, I think, really. But it's really the very minimum kind of trinket of credit. Yeah. So yeah, he just did what he had to do. I mean, that he got himself into that position. He wanted to fight champion. I'll give him. He didn't take step aside money. Well done, because we're all sick and tired of that. So yes, he made the right moral decision not to take step aside money.
I was kind of shocked at that, when I thought.
But fuck, he'll get some credit for that, because we've seen time and time again people get rich off this sport for fucking gone for no reason at all.
Yeah. No, I thought that was the ideal ticket for him to get out of the fight. I thought, he's getting some big dough. He doesn't have to fight Kovalev, and then maybe Canelo beats Kovalev, vacates, and then he can fight for the vacant. But no, man, he took the fight, so.
But it's no great feat that he's undertaken here. That's what I'm saying. He'll get credit, some small amount of credit, but he's done what he should be doing. What we'd expect of any fighter.
Yeah, no, definitely. All right, let's move on to the fight itself, Kimo. Your opinion first, please.
Well, first of all, when the fight started, I was immediately shitting myself because obviously I wanted Yarde to fail miserably, and I was shocked by how much bigger he was in the ring. Like, just looking at the stature of him, and Kovalev. I mean, Kovalev has never been like a very muscular guy. He's always been quite lean and a little bit lanky. But
long guy, isn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, he just looked small, man. Like, Yarde was very tall as well. Like, he just looked fucking humongous next to him. And in the beginning, what I noticed straight away is that Yarde, looked very solid in the beginning. He stood right in front of Kovalev. I thought his defensive, and I'm going to be quite careful here, right? I think his defensive, intuition, and what I mean by that, the way he kind of naturally slips punches and looks to avoid them, I think is quite decent. I'm not saying technically he's a great defensive fighter, but I see stuff in there from him, given his limited training, what he does in there as kind of a novice in the sport, to be honest, if you compare it to, the more experienced champions. He's quite all right. And when he's fresh, he's not that easy to deal with. And I must say, for all the miserable shoulder roll fails that we've seen in the sport, i.e. Andre Berto and AB, you can't hit me, and then proceed to get hit in the face. He did all right. I think it wasn't bad. Let me put it that way. But he can't deal with the jab. The jab was a problem. He was very good at kind of avoiding the right hand, I thought. But the jab, obviously, and that's the thing about the shoulder roll, right? We saw with Cotto Mayweather, for example, that a good jab is the fucking kryptonite to the shoulder roll, and he managed to basically get tagged with the jab definitely in the first half of the fight. But he wasn't letting Kovalev, get any more success than that. So overall, especially in the beginning of the fight, he had some authority on his punches. He looked threatening, which I think was a little bit half the battle. I think Kovalev respected him. I think he respected his hand speed as well. He was trying to like counter with the right hand over the top. I don't think he was doing too bad in there. Now, a lot of people went fucking apeshit and said like, oh, he was doing fantastic, blah, blah, blah. Then that crucial round came, obviously, where he hurt Kovalev. And I must say he showed a bit of dog in that. I have to get that's the one point in the fight where I'm going to give him a lot of credit. He just came forward, he walked forward, and he just threw a boatload of body shots. Like he just kept on going. I don't know why he didn't do that before. Obviously, he had a sort of physical presence in there where it could be a smart idea to kind of put some pressure on Kovalev, and we know that he can be manhandled a little bit, right? Like we've seen that with Andre Ward. He likes it sort of at that mid-long range, but as soon as the fight gets a little bit rough in there and on the inside, he tends to struggle, and Yarde throws a good left hook to the body. I thought at one point, I was screaming like at the TV when Kovalev was hurt, and I thought he was going to get out of there. He somehow survived, and what happened after that is, for me, is probably the most impressive thing of the whole fight. The way Kovalev just came back the round after that straight away, because he was badly hurt. Like, he was really badly hurt, and he just recovered in between that round. And then the next round, he just starts, like, throwing combinations, which I thought, actually, was a dumb thing to do initially. I was like, dude, why are you not holding on? Why are you not, like, recovering? And I think for some reason, a switch went in his head, and he realized, this motherfucker threw the kitchen sink at me. Yeah. He ain't going to have the gas tank to deal with me in the next round. And I have a little bit more left. And he just went for it, man. He started throwing combos. And from that point onwards, like, Yarde was pretty much done. Like, he would have a little resurgence here and there afterwards. But overall, like, he didn't really fully recover and get a full second wind, And Kovalev just kept on outworking him. And eventually he got so fucking tired. And then that weird ass knockout came, which was amazing. I jumped out of my seat, but I thought it was a weird ass knockout. It was kind of a jab, exhaustion, right?
I think it was more exhaustion.
Yeah, but still, man, like it is exhaustion, but you don't see that very often in boxing, right? And especially because Yarde had been very sturdy until that point. I think
he just took in a boatload of shots.
He did.
He took a fucking, like you said, in that 9th round, Kovalev, I don't remember him missing, really. Everything.
Yeah.
He beat the shit out. Like, he took a fucking beating. Like, I think he did pretty well to get out that round, Like, I think it's safe to say he can take a shot. But I don't know how many people take that many shots. Like, I'm watching it again now, and everything he's throwing in this 10th is landing. Everything. And we know Kovalev, his jab it's a powerful shot.
Yeah, it was just such a big contrast from what happened before, right? Because I was quite shocked at how threatening Yarde's punches looked, especially in the second half of the fight, as opposed to Kovalev's. Kovalev's definitely had his respect, but he was never really able to hurt him, And then all of a sudden, as he got tired, like you said, he started basically tagging him with almost every shot. And when he really tired out, that's when the right hand came in, and it looked pretty bad. Like you said, there were a couple of rounds where he was taking a beating, and that can be quite impactful for a fighter as well. It wasn't like just one clean knockout; it was an accumulation, and eventually it became a beatdown. So you got to be careful with a young fighter like that, man. We've seen that in the past before, where it just can change their career drastically, and to get knocked out by a jab like that, that says a lot. That tells me that there was a lot of accumulation of punishment, and it might not.
Like Ben, it's what everyone's. It was Watson Ben all over again. They just, they had nothing left.
Yeah.
On that point,
still got iced off a jab.
Yeah. On that point, Kimo, do you think your favourite trainer Tunde should have maybe pulled him out when he started to accumulate lots of shots?
Yeah, he shouldn't have gone back out in the 10th.
I'm not too sure, man, because
that was an 8-10 round. Like, he beat the shit out of him. Anyway.
He did, but at the same time, like, you've seen in the rounds before that he was able to hurt Kovalev, right? So I can get why they're reluctant to not like pull the trigger immediately, right? Because they're so close to winning a world title. Like you still have that glimmer of hope. And again, he didn't go down yet, right? So I get that, somebody who is a little bit inexperienced in these type of settings as well thinks like, oh, he's still got a chance. He's still moving, he's still trying to avoid shots. But yeah, at one point it was getting a little bit brutal. And I don't know. Me personally, I never had an idea of I want to stop the fight, But then again, I'm a violent motherfucker, and I wanted to see this go on,
He wasn't avoiding shots in 9th and 10th. He had his high guard up pretty much the whole time. Yeah. He just got lit up with about 6 shots in a row then. This is just before the knockout. I mean, he is... Oh, yeah, everything's rocking his head at this point.
Leon, you kind of added on to what Kimo was talking about, but was there any stuff during the fight that you want to discuss?
No, I think if you're... In many ways, if you're Anthony Yarde, you probably leave that fight not feeling too bad about it. Like, on one level, because you've been in the ring with nobody. Absolute... a barrage of rubbish, really, most of his thing. And then he's gone in there and he's considering he's handled himself pretty well. I don't think he won particularly many rounds, but, he did all right, didn't he? He looked good for 3 or 4 rounds. I think he, considering where he is, it's a fine performance.
Yeah, he didn't look outclassed.
He got battered.
How many times have we talked about someone that goes in the ring and, to words you like to use a lot, Leon, shits the bed, or they just freeze on the night, or they just go up there, tuck up for 12 rounds and just want to survive. And Yarde tried, man. Even from the first round, he was trying to land the counter left hook. He's got fast hands. Well, initially he did. They slowed down. When
he slowed down quick, didn't they?
They really slowed down when his stamina went out the window, and it went out the window quite quick. Like after the 4th, 5th round, like he was blowing pretty badly, breathing from the mouth. But yeah, like, he was trying to counter. I personally thought he should have tried more right hand counters because he kind of sits on his back foot. The right hand's already kind of cocked. I understand with the left hook because he holds it low, so Kovalev may not see it coming. But the thing about Kovalev is he kind of jumps in, 1-2-1, jumps back out again. A hook is a shorter punch. You have to be closer to land it. I thought he would have more success maybe trying to counter with the right hand, but I can't really shit on him too much. Like I was actually thinking, because I didn't really talk to you guys after the fight happened, and I thought you were ready to kind of like throw the kitchen sink at him and Tunde, but I'm kind of like happily surprised that you've kind of given him a lot of...
No, Cam, it's coming. Don't worry. It's coming. Look, go first, Leon.
Brutally honest, he won 1 round and got the shit beaten out of him. That's the cold, hard truth of the matter. Like, it wasn't a great, particularly good performance, but it is for someone of his level, because we didn't expect him to get here. Do I think he wins a world championship, a world fight against any of the champions? Probably not, but Pascal is a bit of an outlier now. But I think all those other guys beat him. Beat him quite handily. So, yeah.
Okay, let me touch on this, Cam.
I'm just trying to be nice.
Yeah, we don't need to be nice on this fucking show, man.
He got battered. Lost multiple rounds.
Cam, here's the fucking reality of this, right? And we can do this whole and I'm sorry, I know you guys are from the UK, but this whole fucking victim wankery of a challenger going in another country and being brave and getting the piss beaten out of him.
Everyone's brave. That's a nothing thing. If you're fighting, you're brave. Doesn't matter.
It's just absolutely fucking ridiculous. And the amount of morons that have come out after this fight and say, oh, Yarde is this and Yarde is that. Listen, okay, here's the fucking real deal of it. This was a novice fighter, who might have suffered irreparable damage in this fight. We don't know how Yarde is going to look after this. Yes, he was game, and yes, he showed, I think probably more than anything, his physical talent and his mental toughness. He fought until he went down, basically, right? I can commend that. That's fine. But at the end of the day, if you actually use that argument, you can see that he's a talented fighter. You shouldn't fucking waste him like this. You should bring him up the right way, because you could have possibly ruined a talented, future champion from the UK. I mean, why would you do this? It's the same, man. What is that guy that got the piss beaten out of him, that tall, lanky dude, by the Eastern European that got arrested? One of my favorite fights. It was this brutal beatdown.
Oh, Tommy Langford.
No. Yeah, it was this something with Douglas, man. What's his name again, Cam?
No, against the little guy who went to prison.
Against Spike O'Sullivan, the black dude. The black dude that fought Spike O'Sullivan when he beat him up.
Oh, I'll think of the name later on, man. It's the Eastern European guy with the Polish haircut.
The one that said, Tyson.
Yeah, exactly, man. What's his name again, man?
I'm gonna find it right now. His name was
God damn it.
Kurtzidis.
Okay.
Yeah, and he fought Tommy Langford.
Yeah, he did fight Langford, yeah.
He's back at Tommy Langford.
So
yeah.
Kurtzidis fought who? No, mate. The American, something with Douglas, man.
Antonio Douglas.
Antonio Douglas. Thank you very much. Okay, so Antonio Douglas was a very, very hot prospect, right? He fought Kurtzidis, and then basically he got absolutely destroyed, right? Was brought up too fast, faced the wrong guy, career over, right? We don't know. Obviously, this wasn't as brutal as that fight. That fight was just fucking painful. But the same can happen to Anthony Yarde, right? And he took a lot of damage. So how can you, again, go and justify the fact that he went and got a title shot? This was not a successful run. And the people that say, like, even in losses, you win in boxing. No, motherfucker. How can you say that? That's not always the case. It happens sometimes, but sometimes it changes your goddamn life, and you're never the same again. So I would disagree with that. And again, what is your justification for the same shit I've been hammering on about for months and months and maybe even 2 years, I think? What is your justification for not building up a fighter in the right way? What is your justification? You have none. You cannot give me any convincing argument and tell me, you know what, we shouldn't have let him face contenders. Because obviously they weren't ready. What about the corner advice? Was that fucking good? Did Tunde, whatever the fuck his name is, did he have anything relevant to say in this fight? Did he show you anything that he had a proper game plan ready on how to deal with it? I can pick apart a million different things that they did wrong. Sitting back with the shoulder roll and countering over the top. Yeah, okay, you're showing you've got fast hands and you've got good boxing intuition. But how are you going to beat Kovalev doing that? Are you planning to just knock him out? Are you planning to get a decision like that? Because you're not.
They thought they were going to knock him out.
They're full of shit, man. I mean, honestly, the whole thing, the whole basis of this entire argument of justifying this fight is that Yarde has actually got good physical talent and is a tough motherfucker. I'm sorry, that's not a justification for this fight. It really is not. This is not the way that you build up a fighter. It never will be, and it was just plain wrong. And you don't know how Yarde is right now. We don't know. For all we know, next fight, he's fucking gun shy. Next fight, he's not the same. We don't know, man. Like, this is just absolutely ridiculous. The people that justify this shit, it absolutely baffles me. We all know what the right way is to bring up a young fighter, and it is not to beat up a bunch of taxi drivers and then go into the fucking lion's den, no pun intended.
This is the thing that I had a problem with. When he got all that credit, like got loads of credit lavished on him for beating up that Serge Locker, wasn't it? That Cam?
Yep.
Who was a man nearly 40 who was a super middleweight. Yeah, and he'd never been stopped at super middleweight.
And he was touching Yarde up a bit.
Yeah, he's returning after like 18 months out or something, wasn't he?
I can't remember about that, but I do remember he was kind of landing on Yarde as well.
Yeah. He's the one that kind of first started people thinking, what's his chin like? I mean, he proved to be reasonably decent against Kovalev. But, like, he got a whole heap of credit for that. And that was his test for Kovalev? That guy? That's his best win.
The thing about what Kimo said earlier about why throwing him so quick, like, because initially when I thought that he didn't really have that many amateur fights is because he must, kind of have a shady chin. And their choice of professional opponents would kind of lend to that because he never really fought anyone with any type of decent knockout ratio. And we kind of heard stories about him, quitting and sparring against someone that wasn't even that good.
Yep.
But to your point, Leon, he definitely showed that his chin is decent. Obviously, he got stuck towards the fight, but I said earlier, I think that was a combination of taking a beating and exhaustion. And even Kovalev, man, Kovalev's jab is like most people's right hand anyway. But I got a question for both you guys. I spoke to Lim after the fight, and I asked Lim, we have that common phrase in boxing that the last thing to go is your power. Do you guys think that Kovalev's power is not the same anymore, man? Because I think if Kovalev would have fought Yarde 3-4 years ago, I think he would have iced him in 6.
Yeah, he's not the fighter he was.
Or do you think he just doesn't hold his feet as much? He's kind of worried about what's coming back.
He's moving a bit more. But look, I think he's, not a diminished fighter in that sense. But, I think he's definitely, we'll be... The fight record proves that he's vulnerable, right? He lost some guys, but some good guys. So what he does next, I'm not quite sure. I think he's, there's the idea. Some people thought that Anthony, they were taking the roll of the dice because they thought he was vulnerable, and they might have been right on some level, but they weren't the guys to do it. But yeah, I think he's going to be in some fun fights because he's more vulnerable than he was.
Cam, I think the power thing is obviously we've been long enough fans of this sport to see that power definitely stays for a long time. But I think the ability to kind of put crisp shots together and really being able to pull the trigger aggressively does go a little bit with age. I think as Kovalev has gotten a little bit older, I think he looks a little bit more lethargic. And he doesn't look as explosive and as violent as he used to look in the past. Some of those older knockouts when he was in his end 20s, mid 30s, they were pretty violent, man. They were really aggressive, and his punches were really crisp and straight. I don't really see that much anymore. Obviously, he's still, a formidable force, but it's not quite the same. There's no way to deny that. I'm not trying to take credit away from anybody, but the dude is not quite the same vicious puncher as he was when he was a little bit younger.
Yeah, absolutely. As for what he does next, I don't know. I've got no interest in that weird thing that people are talking about. None at all.
The Canelo thing.
Yeah, none. Absolutely zero.
Oh my God.
But
would you guys fly over for that fight?
No.
Not you, Leon. But would you guys, Cam and that Arab faggot, would you guys come over for that fight?
Of course, bro. What the fuck?
Yeah. No, but I understand Leon's reservations too, though.
Because if there's a catch weight,
no, I wouldn't accept
the ground.
Weight.
Oh,
No.
Shut up.
Whatsoever. But if it was that,
made his career off catch weights.
Let's
not be surprised
all
that bullshit out.
It's a much better fight than Rocky Fielding, right?
Yeah, I just don't understand it. But
it's not saying much. I understand. I'm not saying that's as a barometer. That's very, very low. But I don't know. I'm with you guys. I think Kovalev. You're right, Chemo. Power is the last thing to go, but it also depends on the kind of fighter and the type of power shots you throw. And Kovalev isn't no George Foreman. Everything that he throws is based on that 1-2, and that's based on speed and kind of the whipping motion of that right hand, and he just doesn't have that anymore.
But no. But let's be real. He's still landing,
and he spars too many women.
He's still landing though, isn't he? He's still landing a lot of punches. He landed a lot of punches.
Yeah, but Leon, before, if he landed, it would be lights out. Now it's it's a little bit more accumulation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's a lot of punches he's landed. I bet he's landed more recently than he did in the past.
Well, because he didn't have to.
Yeah. So he's adapting. He's adapting to who he is. Well,
I guess you could make the argument that he's adapting out of necessity.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what happens to boxers when they get into their late 30s.
Okay.
What you think of the fight?
I saw the fight too.
Yeah.
I saw it. No, but I mean, I'm not going to repeat shit that you guys already said, and you guys watched it, I think, more closely than I did, so I'm not going to even bother with that. But I just wanted to gauge your guys' interest level in a Canelo versus Kovalev fight.
Well, actually, I'm quite the opposite of Leon. I think that's a fucking fascinating fight. Mate, he's a light heavyweight. Like, how is Canelo gonna... Canelo is a fucking midget at the end of the day. Like, he's very thick, obviously. But he's not tall, man. Like, how is he gonna deal with somebody that size? Like, whether he's 36 or not. Like, just getting past that... What's gonna be the reach advantage? You know what I mean? Like, just getting past the jab is gonna be very difficult, man.
I mean, doesn't Kovalev have, like, a 74-inch reach?
Yeah, what's Canelo's?
It's 72. Mayweather's was 72. So I don't think the reach is going to be that much of an issue.
Which reach are you talking about now, man? I'm talking about his arms, yeah?
Oh, I was talking about a snake.
No.
No, but his arm reach, his arm reach is 72 inches as well.
No, I don't believe that, man. They cannot have the same.
It's 2 inches different. I think Kovalev's is 74. No, but regardless, like I think it'd be a good fight because I do think Kovalev is pretty washed.
Yeah, but that's what we're saying. So what are we saying?
I know.
Good fight.
I know.
Canelo's pulled out a guy that's on the brink of being past his best.
He's definitely
my problem is he goes up there and then he comes away from it and leaves it and doesn't fight anyone. I don't understand what he's doing, and that's my whole problem. I can't stand his career. It's horrible to look at. It's just horrible, mashy, mashy thing.
I understand where you're coming from.
And that's the problem that's the problem with not just him. You know, multiple boxers have done that.
Right. It's what happens when you have a lot of power in the sport. And
yeah, it's bullshit.
And I agree with it. I agree with you. I actually agree with you, Leon, on that 100%. It's just that for me, like I think even though Kovalev is past it, I don't think he's past it to the point where it's not an intriguing fight. I mean, the fact that he beat Alvarez just 2 fights ago, the Colombian Alvarez. And then, I mean, Yarde, I think Yarde is a pretty decent prospect. I really don't know much about him. But I think Kovalev still has enough where a win over Kovalev by Canelo, like let's say if Canelo stopped him by body shots, I think that would be pretty impressive. But you're right, like the ramifications of him just jumping ship and going back down to 160 would be very, very frustrating.
But, mate, think about it like this, right? We could talk about Kovalev declining and yada, yada, yada. At the end of the day, Canelo is not a big dude. And if he would move up to light heavy and fucking beat a legit champion over there, and it might be the weakest champion, man. But people like Pacquiao and Mayweather have done the same thing, you know? Like, it doesn't make it any less impressive.
Great for boxing, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I'm saying it's still impressive, mate.
We all wanted that fucking show for years, didn't we?
Yeah, but, mate, it's still impressive to go up and do that to a bigger guy, man. Not a lot of people have done this, you know? People talk a lot of shit about Pacquiao and Margarito, for example. But at the end of the day, how many boxers have done this? There's not a lot of people that can do this, man. Like, it takes a special fighter, and I know you're going to fucking start cringing now because I'm talking about Canelo.
It's pathetic, Chemo.
And to be fair,
man, it's real garbage.
That Pacquiao Margarito fight is even more egregious because Margarito came in at 152, and Margarito was way washed at that time.
Yeah, I mean, that was garbage as well, but anyway.
That was
let's get off
shit. No, let's stay on him just for a little bit. Just go to the bathroom or something for a couple minutes, Leon. I promise.
Go and have a fucking wank, mate.
It's on Tunde yet.
So it won't happen in November. I think that's pretty obvious. But like, would you guys honestly fly over if it was like in December or maybe early, like in February or something like that?
Mate, if it's in December, I'm telling you now, there's a very good chance that I would come. If it's December, Jan, like we can fucking go to Vegas. Is it going to be in Vegas probably, right? And then we can go to an NFL game, bro.
Yeah, that sounds pretty sweet. What about you, Cam? Are you just going to stay in the car and go to Target, though, or would you actually go out?
Yeah, I think the Target is the plan. But if there's no stipulations, if there's no weight clauses or rehydration clauses, because that would just put me off the fight, because I hate that kind of bitch side of Canelo. Like, if he's going to go up to light heavy, then let him fight a guy that's a light heavy and not put any rules in place to kind of give himself an advantage. If that doesn't happen, I'd be interested in going because I've not been to the States now. I think it's like 2 years now this September, so it's been a minute.
You know what the problem is though, Cam, and this is my worry about this fight, is that Kovalev is basically gunning for one last big payday, right? He wants a massive fight, and if Canelo dangles the carrot in front of him and he makes a shitload of money, right, in a massive Vegas fight, I could see him compromise on the way. If that's his way of getting his retirement check for his fucking family, you know what I mean? He'll be like, you know what, let me fucking cut a couple of pounds more and we'll see what happens, you know? I could see that happen.
I don't think it's going to be a weight cut thing, Chemo. I think that's going to be a day after rehydration stipulation.
Yeah, that's exactly
Either way, that's still fucked up.
Yeah.
No, I know it's fucked up, but the latter is more palatable for fans because nobody talks about rehydration as much as they do the weigh-in, because the weigh-in is so obvious, right? It's such a ceremony, whereas the day after, nobody really gives a fuck except people who are in the know. So I think that's probably what Canelo's team would try to vie for. They're both like pretty equal in terms of bitch-assness, but I think that would be the plan.
One can actually argue that the rehydration clause is potentially even more dangerous. I mean, I have no research to back this up, obviously, but you know, staying dehydrated, you know, so close to the fight is dangerous for your fucking brain, man. Like that is bad.
Well,
you know?
That's why they actually banned same day weigh-ins for the fights, didn't they? Because people were just too dehydrated.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's a plausible argument, but I mean, yeah. I was just going to talk about, like, I don't know, there is like a 10 to 11 pound window in between, so you could rehydrate to an extent, but you'd still be dehydrated, but just not probably as dehydrated as you are obviously on the day of the weigh-in. But I mean, you guys both bring up good points, and I think, for like you mentioned, Chemo, the thing with Kovalev is he's so desperate right now, and I don't even know what his family situation is like, and I only bring that up because, like, I'm really curious as to what Kovalev's mental state is. He's changed trainers so many freaking times over the past couple of years. There's been like multiple assault cases that have come up around training camps, and like his wife wasn't at the fight, and I'm not saying that she needed to have been there, or she even like probably would have been there, but I'm just curious as to what his background is right now, and just kind of like what he's even like fighting for to begin with.
Well, money can be a big temptation, man, but let's just see. I still, this is one of those fights where I have to, you know, see them in the ring to actually believe it will happen, because I find when it first started getting out there, I was very surprised by it. I totally was not expecting this, you know. I wouldn't expect Canelo to go down the Kovalev route. Like, that's the last thing I would think of him to do. I think there's the Golovkin rematch, which is easy money. You know, it's a big fight once again. All the casuals will love it. It's another easy, you know, relatively safe payday, I think, for him. I mean, he knows Golovkin now, and he knows it's only going to go uphill from now on for him. You know, like it's for Golovkin to kind of face him and just knock him out. I think those chances are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, even though he beat up a fucking bum, which we'll talk about later. Like, it's just really surprising to me. But nevertheless, I am quite intrigued. And I know Cam likes his little freak show fights, right? Con Canelo. So,
all right.
You know what the thing about Canelo is that he's such a he is a diva very much, and I think in a way that we aren't accustomed to see in boxing, and that he has these, I think, grand notions of like what it means to be a man, and I think he just views Golovkin as somebody that is just like he views him as like a good fighter, a respectable person and whatnot, but he just like when he talks about not wanting to put money in his pockets, like, I just find it so petty, but also very, very enamoring and very cute. I can fuck with it, man.
Very cute.
Yeah, but man, does it really bother you? Like, for me, like, you've already faced him twice. Like, I'm honestly not going to make a big deal out of it now, you know?
Well,
like,
I only have an issue with it if he's skipping dates because of it.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. But overall, like,
I mean, guys, no, I think it shows the kind of person you are, really. If you're kind of thinking about money in that way and not wanting someone else to make money, you're a fucking pretty garbage person, really. Like, so if that's his attitude, I think that just sums up everything I think about him. I think I'm right.
I don't know, bro.
Fucking garbage individual, man.
They do call him the king of Guadalajara, so I think he just has a big name.
He's a moron, man.
All right, let's quickly before we move on to the next fight. Kimo, the people in the chat, I think, want to light a fire beneath you because they are asking your opinion on Tunde, and also I have a personal question about the commentators for ESPN, Ward and Bradley. They kind of hinted to, and I never heard of this before, that Yarde didn't have any sparring for this Kovalev fight, which I just think is amazing. Like, pad work does not substitute some great spars. Like, sparring is probably the most important thing you need, especially when you're Yarde and you've not gone like into championships rounds. You need to test your stamina. Like, pads are not gonna take you to that level. So yeah, your opinion on your opinion on Tunde and the sparring situation.
Look, Tunde is a fucking piece of shit. There's no other way to say it. This guy is a snake oil salesman who, you know, has obviously gotten into young Anthony Yarde's head. He convinced him of a delusion that is potentially dangerous for his fighter, like I explained before. And he talked a lot of shit. And if you watch his interviews, you'll also notice that he's kind of like an egomaniac. He loves the attention. He thrives on it. Yeah. If you think Eddie Hearn is an attention whore, this guy adds a little bit more flavor on top. Yeah.
They're different kind of people, though. I think they're quite different.
Well, Eddie, it's his job.
He's a narcissist.
But Eddie, it's his job. It's his job to be an attention whore and get the media involved and all of that and splatter his face everywhere and promote and get more, you know, eyes on the fucking promotion and the fighters. I get it from that perspective. This guy, this little piece of shit, should shut the fuck up and he should focus on the safety and the well-being of his fighter, right? And the delusion after the fight is even worse. So anybody has probably watched his interview of him where he says, "Oh, we basically did nothing wrong. We just got tired." Are you fucking kidding me? Like, man, I was so pissed when I watched that. Like, all respect to Anthony Yarde for what he did in the ring, but if he is not like exempt from blame here, right? If you let a guy like that into your camp and run the ship, you are just as much to blame as anybody else. Like, you cannot allow this fucking guy to ruin your career. You have a couple of more fights like this where you don't give yourself enough time to develop. It's going to go downhill really fast. And Leon said this before. Look at the other champions in the division, right? If Warren pulls off some fucking shady shit again and he goes against Beterbiev or any other killer, it's going to be a problem, man. If anything that's evident from this fight is that there are real strategic and skill gaps that this guy has, right? And they need to be worked on, man. If I was him, I would dump this little piece of shit tomorrow and get with a real trainer, man. And I've seen this a couple of times on Twitter. You know, names like Adam Booth being dropped in there. Can you imagine Yarde with a cerebral guy like Adam Booth, who's patient, who's calm, whatever, man. I'm just giving an example, who will take time to not do like stupid, idiotic pad work with this fighter, but actually work on the fundamentals day by day and grow this guy properly, man. I mean, it just baffles me. I don't know what their connection and their history is. Obviously, they're very close. I mean, it's evident, right? Like, you can see that him and Yarde have a close relationship, but it's just bad, man. Like, I honestly, like, he needs somebody around him, and I hope it comes from himself, to wake up and to understand, like, listen, I need to do what's best for my career. Maybe we're good friends, but this ain't fucking working. Like, and the post-fight interview is actually, and not even just Tunde, right? Just also the people around that kept giving him credit. Mate, you need to face facts. You have a lot of development to do. And if you deny that, and if you think like, oh, I'm already there on that level, right? Because that's what people are saying. He should have been there in that ring. He's ready to be fighting anybody for a world title shot. It's a fucking problem. This guy's not ready, man. He overachieved, and you're just jumping so many fucking levels ahead. And in boxing, man, it ain't fucking tennis. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a problem. You're gonna get hurt. And I don't know. It just baffles me. But again, Tunde, the post-fight interview is probably worse than anything else I've heard from that guy's mouth.
That was the worst bit. That was the worst.
It's the complete delusion. Like it's just unbelievable, man.
My problem with him is this: he kind of got this kind of role that he's prescribed to himself as this kind of, calling himself a teacher. Great teacher. My dad was a teacher for 45 years. I find it insulting that he thinks what he's doing. Like, do you think my dad was at school, at a special needs school, and then he'd come home and start bragging to me about how well he taught this kid to read or something? Like, he's not like, it's not, it's meant to be a kind of humble, if you're going to
profession,
cast yourself in that role, that's not what a teacher, that's not how a teacher behaves. Like, the man's a narcissist, a complete and utter narcissist as far as I can work out. He's read far too many self-help books and motivational speaking and all this kind of garbage. Read all these things, and he's deluded himself so much that when he regurgitates this nonsense and bullshit, he believes it's his own original ideas. Like, he is a very, very peculiar man.
Yeah, and he said some crazy shit, like, oh, there's so much self-belief, and we believe 100% failure is not an option, yada, yada, yada. Like, all this cliche bullshit, like you said, that you hear in these motivational books or whatever. And then at the end of the day, when the reality sets in, right, and it's your time to reflect, and you of all people should be the one reflecting, right? Your fighter is probably badly...
Genius, a great brain. Yeah. You'd be able to work that out, right? That you something wrong.
It's your job to protect the fighter in many different aspects, right? And after a fight like that, you should not let your ego get in the way. With a fighter, I can understand it, because fighters are cut from a different cloth, man. They just went through blood and guts, and they don't have the fucking, mindset to really understand what happened in the ring. But for you to sit there and to say that nothing went wrong when your fighter was lying on the floor, like...
But the other thing, I kind
sick,
of...
actually. Sick.
Yeah, I tried to avoid all this stuff. I hadn't really heard him talk that much. So after that interview that you posted, which I thought was shocking, I went kind of back and had a look. And it's just kind of... He's branded this, what he does, how he teach people how to box. He's already branded it, this Plan 9 or something. So this guy is kind of working on his own boxing brand, what he's doing before, and then he's pushed it onto a fighter, hasn't he? So So he's more worried about his brand than he is about his fighter, it seems to me.
Or his hashtags on Twitter.
Yeah, and it's very, very, very... I would describe it as very normal behaviour. Very normal behaviour. Very fan.
Man, it just shows you how important, and I tweeted this the other day. It shows you how important it is to have a good fucking team around you, man. When you start blowing up and you start getting hype behind you, and you have all these snakes and these leeches, trying to get in your head, it's very difficult, man. And at the end of the day, how old is Yarde? What is he? 24, 25?
No, he's a bit older than you think. I think he's 28,
Yeah, he's 28, yeah.
Yeah, so he's a man.
28, man? There's no excuse for that, honestly. Like, I thought he was more younger than that, and maybe he was like swayed into this, but just being. But then at the end of the day, maybe 28 is not that old either. It's just if he's 28, look, you've got now the potential to go back to the drawing board and really, really carve out your career. If he continues to stay with this guy, I think he's going to be done and damaged within 2 years, honestly.
I think he stays. I think he's kind of got that loyalty with him. He's kind of helped kind of mold him from whenever he started boxing, so I can't see them separating. But having said that, I never thought Billy Joe would leave Fish Eyes, and that's happened, so you can never say never in boxing. But Kimo, one thing is, man, you got to say Tunde's saying, man, it's a classic. Dream it, believe it, become it. How can you not like that, Kimo?
Man, that's like speak it, believe it, receive it from Deontay Wilder, and that's actually better.
It's meaningless. Thing he says.
I'm just trolling, man. I'm just trolling. But
guys, if you had another question for me though, what was it? One was Tunde, and the other one was what?
The other question was Ward. Like, you enjoyed Ward's commentary on that night?
Yeah, mate. So it was him and Bradley, right, on the other stream, and basically every round they were talking about the same shit about Yarde not sparring, too much muscle, and his shitting on his trainer. Every round was the same story, and Ward was really going in. Like, Ward was letting it rip, and at one point, obviously, when Kovalev got hurt, you kind of felt like he was a bit disappointed that he had to backtrack a little bit. But then Kovalev came back, and it started again once, like fucking ram it down their throats. It was quite nice, actually. It's the first time that I've ever really enjoyed hearing Ward speak.
And just to give a bit of background, if people don't know, because not everyone has time to watch all the videos, IFL Umar did an interview with Tunde a couple months ago, a couple of weeks ago maybe, and I can't remember the context of the conversation, but basically Tunde shit on Ward and said, "Who's Andre Ward? What has he ever done?" and stuff like that. So,
did he really say that? I didn't even see that.
Yeah, no, I sent you that. I sent you that video. I sent you a couple of weeks ago. But,
I went 2 weeks to Netherlands, Cam, so my brain is fried, as you know. But that's abysmal. Even I wouldn't say who the fuck is Andre Ward. Like, even though he's a complete scumbag in the ring, like he's
pretty garbage outside of it as well. Yeah, but I wouldn't.
Yeah. Praise Jesus.
Yeah, but it was hilarious that Ward kind of got his revenge the night off because, as you said, like. They were just basically waiting for any opportunity to shit on Tunde. They actually didn't shit on Yarde too much, which was good. They kind of just focused Ward focused his beef towards Tunde. But shall we move on then? Are we all done on?
Yeah. That's more than enough time.
Yeah, we kind of
too much.
We did that.
I think that's everything, Cam. Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Shall we just quickly touch upon Manny Pacquiao and Keith Thurman? I don't think we'll spend too much time on it, but.
No.
I'll kick us off. Like,
go on. You remind us what it was like because I can't remember.
Yeah, the listeners, and you guys might remember my frustration with the Pacquiao a couple of years ago when he was still with Bob Arum and he was kind of fighting Jesse Vargas and Bradley Free, even though no one wanted even Bradley won. And those type of fights when he went to Australia fought Jeff Horn, even though I thought Jeff Horn beat him. On paper beforehand, it was a fight we didn't care about because he was still tied with Bob, and Bob really didn't have anyone at that time apart from Crawford, and Pacquiao just didn't want to fight Crawford, which I found disappointing because we do get those, handing over the torch to the next fighter, and Pacquiao just didn't want to do it. And I think if Pacquiao fought Crawford tomorrow, I think Crawford beats him. But coming to the Thurman fight, it's amazing, man. The guy at that age kind of putting on that performance. I know we've kind of been frustrated with Keith with his inactivity, his injuries, like his performance against Josecito. But Manny, man, like for him to be dealing with a high level welterweight so easily, even though some judge, I don't know how, had it to Thurman, he had it 114, 113 to Thurman. Like, that's ridiculous to me. I thought that was a UD all day long, easily. But yeah, Pacquiao, first round, just to refresh your memory on, like, it was a kind of evenish round. If anything, Thurman was kind of winning it, and then Pacquiao kind of leaped in with I think it was a right, left, right, and just caught him with that last right on the chin. And as Thurman was kind of going backwards, thought he was out of range, and he got clipped with it on the chin and went down. And it was a 10-8 round for the first round. And yeah, Manny, man, like, he's still got a decent speed. His output has definitely dropped, but he had more than enough to beat Keith. Keith was initially, first 6 rounds, he was just looking for counters too much. When he started to kind of mix it up and then lead sometimes, and then make Manny counter him, and so he could counter the counter, he was having a lot more success. But it was a decent fight. I don't think we need a rematch. And amazing Manny Pacquiao, and props to Keith as well, because he kind of talked a lot of shit in the build-up in the face-off programs that they had and stuff, but he gave Manny a lot of props in his post-fight, and let's hope he kind of comes back quick and fights more the top-level guys, maybe Garcia rematch, maybe him with the winner of Spence Porter or something anyway. But
come back stronger.
With Pacquiao, like, only person I could see beating Pacquiao is probably Spence and Crawford. Anyone else? As I read yesterday, Danny wants to finally step up and fight Pacquiao, even though he turned down the fight a couple of years ago. I think he deals with him. So, yeah, man. What about you, Kimo?
What about Khan, Cam?
Khan is just a joker, man. Remember when you put that tweet out saying, oh, yeah, the fight with Manny's sealed, signed, delivered, and blah, blah, and then like, Manny's like, huh? What are you talking about? Khan's just like a mockery of himself. He's like a cartoon character, man. Like, you can't take him seriously anymore.
Dude,
Thurman did nothing in that fight, did he? That's what I now remember.
Towards the end, he tried, but yeah, like,
a bit at the end. But like, he deserved to lose a fight for getting dropped like that anyway, because that was horrible. Like, he ran halfway across the ring and back in a straight line,
and then got dropped.
Been watching it, yeah, it was horrible. He deserved to lose it just on the back of that.
Man, I fucking disagree, mate. I like Keith, man. I've always liked him. I've always had a soft spot for him.
I want him to be good, but I just thought, I'm just remembering now, I'm just telling you, from what I remember, he did very little. He left it too late. He went all Tesco Joe on us.
No, man. What the fuck are you talking? Okay, I think we must have watched a different fight, or you just smoked too much weed, because I actually remember Keith coming out of the gate straight away and pressing forward, man. Like, that's to me was the most surprising thing about this fight. Usually, he's always like kind of on the back foot, right? Especially everybody keeps shitting on him for being gun shy. And in this fight, he came to fight. He fucking came forward, man, and pressed the action. I really enjoyed this fight, actually. I thought it was very good.
Maybe he had no success is more like what I'm trying to say.
Well, I think he had success in very small spurts. I mean, he wasn't really able to put a dent in Pacquiao, obviously. But he definitely was competitive in the fight. I mean, I don't think it was like a one-sided beating by no means. I think he did well, man. By the way, I wanted to say that pre-fight kind of banter that he did in the face-off. I mean, I love Keith, man, but that was so fucking corny. I had to like switch it off. It was really painful to watch, actually. I don't know what he was thinking, because even from a promotional perspective, like, it doesn't work to trash talk Pacquiao. You know, like, he's the one guy that's like immune to this stuff. Like, he just sits there, smiles, and then proceeds to beat the shit out of you in the ring. It just fuels him.
Yeah, what was he saying? Like, he was like going to crucify him and like doing Bible quotes and shit like that. That was crazy, man.
Yeah.
Was he?
I don't know.
Oh,
I think you could very evidently see that he was trying to sell pay-per-views.
Yeah, but I had a problem with that, Chemo, because I remember when they first did the Fox deal. I can't remember what fight it was, but they interviewed him and he was like, yeah, I'm proud to be like on free-to-air Fox and stuff, because when I was young, we didn't have cable and we didn't have money to buy pay-per-views. And then all of a sudden, he's on fucking Fox pay-per-view, so I was a bit peed off with that, but, you know, it's boxing, so I'll let it slide.
Yeah, it's boxing, man. You know?
Come back stronger.
But, yeah, it's, man, I thought it was a good fight. Sometimes you get a fight that kind of flies a little bit under the radar, right? Which I think this was, given the names that were involved. And then it happens, and it's actually a really fun fight. So whenever it exceeds my expectations, I'm quite happy, man. I really, really enjoyed it. It was a great fight. And god damn it, man, Pacquiao is such a fucking legend. The fact that this guy is still able to do what he does at this fucking age,
amazing.
We honestly, it's amazing, man. I've said this so many times on the show, and sometimes I get tired of saying it. And there's still a lot of haters out there, obviously, but to look at what this guy was when he started off, you know, when he came up through the ranks, where he was this trigger-happy left-handed brawler, and to see him now as this kind of tactical, yet athletic, yet powerful combination / volume / boxer, like, he's just a hybrid of so many different styles, and it's incredible. It really, really is incredible. And given his aggressive nature, the way he fought, especially early on in his career, it is baffling to me that he's still around and in such good shape, and he's able to take punches. Look at what this guy has overcome. Look at the Marquez knockout, man. That ends most careers.
Yeah.
You know, look at what happened to Roy Jones after he went through that. He was nothing. Look at what Pacquiao has done. It's really unbelievable. And if at the end of the day, man, open up the fucking resume, and I can talk to any fucking hater out there that's coming up with PED stories and all this blah, blah, blah. Mate, resumes do not fucking lie. The resume of Manny Pacquiao is insane. Like, it is fucking insane. I have so much respect for this guy.
Kimo.
Yeah, he's a crazy motherfucker as well. You know, he says some wild shit from time to time. You know, but man, I take my hat off to him.
Kimo, what's next for him in your opinion? You said that he's not going to fight this year, most likely, so probably January and July next year. So who would you like for him to fight in January?
Okay, I have a bone to pick with a certain individual about this, because there's a lot of people came out of the woodwork all of a sudden saying they want to see Pacquiao Mayweather too, and I get very aggressive about that fight when it's mentioned to me. I say I don't want to fucking see it. I'm not interested in it. And then the argument that comes back to me is like, oh, but you know you're gonna fucking watch it anyway. You know, like, oh, it's a great fight. I'm like, what fucking delusional planet are you living on? Manny Pacquiao Mayweather 1 was probably, as a boxing fan, the lowest point of my life, and that is not an exaggeration. I had everybody from fucking family members to colleagues to anybody that I know come up to me weeks and weeks before the fight. Even in fucking Abu Dhabi, man. Like, oh, Pacquiao Mayweather. What's going to happen? Everybody had a fucking opinion. Everybody wanted to see it. All these people that have never even watched a fight in their life all of a sudden pretended like they were invested in it. And then you can tell me like, oh, but you can just ignore that and just watch the fight. No, I can't. I cannot, because I'm sitting at work and people are coming up to me. I'm sitting with family and then it's conversation on the dinner table. How the fuck can I ignore it? It was everywhere.
Kimo.
And then this shit fest. No, wait, I'm done yet. And then this shit fest of a disgrace happens, right? And it's just shameful. It put the whole sport to shame. Everybody took a dump on it afterwards. It was a complete scam, in my opinion. And then these fuckfaces want to come to me and say like, oh, you don't want to see number 2? No, I don't want to get fucked up the ass for a second time, okay? Thank you very much.
For me as well, I mean, I've really got no interest in watching two multimillionaires get more money. Like, that's all that would be to me. Like, I don't know what it would mean.
It's a money grab. It was a dirty money grab.
It's just two guys who have had loads of money and maybe pissed it away, but still got a bit, just making more money. Like, it's not attractive at all.
All right, Leon, let's forget Mayweather, but who would you like Pacquiao to fight next?
I don't know who he can. I mean, who can he fight? Garcia. I'll be fine with a Garcia fight.
What about you, Kimo?
You know, actually, Cam, if I think about it, and as much as I love Pac, there are certain guys that I really, really like, and there's two of them. There's Terence Crawford and there's Errol Spence. I'm not saying I necessarily want Pacquiao, you know, from my heart for him to get in the ring with them, but I do want these guys to get the torch, right? There's a handover of a new generation of fighters that need some notoriety, and I think Terence Crawford is one of them. I think he's a fucking amazing fighter. I love watching him fight, and I want him to get notoriety. I want him to get a big name. I want him to blow up. Okay, he's not the most charismatic guy in the world, but he's really good, man. He's really fucking amazing. And you know, would I really want to see Pacquiao? I'm a bit torn about this, right? Do I really want to see an old Pacquiao getting in the ring with a killer like that? Not necessarily, but at the same time, I'm also very content with Pacquiao just riding off into the sunset and handing it over, you know, just like when he fought Morales, you know. Just when he fought Barrera, these guys also passed the torch to him. He took all of those fans. He took all of that fame. You know, that golden era of the featherweight division was built up, and then he took over that. You know, he just stormed it. He was the executioner, and then he rode off into the sunset and became great. I also want that for the new generation, right? So I do have a feeling that I want Pacquiao to face one of these guys. But at the same time, it can also mean him getting laid out in the ring. And at his age, I don't necessarily want that either, man. I'm very comfortable with him retiring tomorrow. He's got nothing left to prove in this sport.
I like it when legends leave the sport, in their last fight, and they give it to someone like, I mean, what Floyd did for Andre Berto, I mean, you could never take that away from him now. Come on, guys.
God. Or that little Japanese kid.
Ground shaking, yeah.
What a fucking scumbag that guy is. Anyway, well, who do you want to see, Cam? Who do you want to see him fight?
I'm with you, I won't mind him making Danny Garcia look like a caveman, but knowing my look, Danny knocks him out, and then, because I never get any look against Danny. Like, I know Thurman beat Danny, and that Porter fight, but like, I want someone to like embarrass Danny, man.
You want to see him iced, don't you? That's the problem.
I want to see him iced, and if I can't get icing, I want it embarrassing, like where he just looks so basic and just. Was it the Morales second fight or the first fight where Danny threw like a left-right and then Morales kind of took the piss out of him by throwing like a lazy left-right?
Yeah.
First fight.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want him just to look like a caveman, but it's not going to happen. It's not my look. But
well, stylistically, it might favor Pacquiao a little bit. I know the age worries me a little bit, but I think if you would match him up, like prime for prime, I think that style eats many eats that alive, man.
That's true, but
he's too fast, man. He's got fastest hands in boxing, man.
Apart from Khan, though.
Yeah.
Anything else regarding Manny Pacquiao or Keith Thurman?
No.
All right,
yeah, we're good.
Let's move on to Ramirez Hooker, man. Very decent fight, unification at 140. Jose Ramirez versus Maurice Hooker. Yeah, it was a fun fight. I just thought Hooker just should have used his length a bit more. He was letting Ramirez on the inside way too easy. Ramirez got on the inside, and he would just throw really good combinations, mixing it up, body shots, uppercuts to the body, uppercuts to the head. Like every combination was different. He'd always mix it, and eventually he just started to get to Hooker. He caught Hooker with a nice left hook on top of the head and hurt him, and then as Hooker kind of went backwards towards the ropes, he just, let his hands go. Every shot landed, and Nelson, the referee, jumped in and waved it off. It was a very good stoppage, I thought. And I read in the post-fight that Hooker praised the ref for stopping it because we had recent deaths, which I'm going to touch upon later.
It looked quite bad even then, didn't it?
And he said, look, I want to live, I got a family, so I'm happy that you started fighting. And that was very refreshing because a lot of boxers would have made any excuse, I was all right, man, I could have continued and shit, until he got brain damage. But it was refreshing that Hooker just, gave the ref a pat on the back for stopping the fight, so that was nice. But
he knew he was beaten.
Sorry?
Didn't he? He knew he was beaten in that moment.
Yeah, he knew it. The only thing that it was a bit weird, man, there was the ref, Mark Nelson, he missed a knockdown that shouldn't have happened. Like, Ramirez stood on Hooker's foot and landed a jab. And then
round, maybe, was it?
Sorry?
Was it early on, wasn't it?
It was the first round. First round, yeah. And I don't know whether that just fucked Hooker's mind up a bit, fucked up the game plan a bit. Like, I would love to see how the fight would have played on if that didn't happen, because going into the second round, knowing that you're already, 10-8 down, it can kind of mess up the game plan. But, maybe he would have got stopped anyway. Who knows? I just felt a bit harsh on Hooker. I think
this story was always going to come to an end like this, Cam, with Hooker, wasn't it? Like, it kind of come out of nowhere. He went on a little run, and he was going to get stopped. Like, it kind of felt like this was nature taking its course.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
It's a really good point, Leon, because which fight was it, Hooker? I think he was he on Kovalev Ward undercard against, was it Darlis Perez or something like that?
Something like that.
Where everyone thought in the building that he lost, and then he was a draw or some shit like that. But Hooker can't just deal with inside fighting. And I know if you got the length, you should use it, but you need a backup plan, man. You need to have some type of inside fighting. If the guy can get on the inside, if you're allowing him to get on the inside, you need to be able to fight a little bit on the inside. Or you need to tie him up, let the referee break you. You need to do something. You can't just stand there with your high guard and let the guy tee off on you, man. Like, that's not a strategy for me. But, who knows? Kimo, did you see this fight?
I did, man. I did. But I didn't hear about this post-fight reaction that he actually was grateful to the referee. I was actually surprised to hear that when you said that.
I think it was in the conference after the fight. It wasn't in his post-fight interview. It was in the post-fight conference.
You know, that's actually very admirable, man. But because normally, man, fighters are very stubborn people. You know, even if they're laid out on the floor, they'll be like, "Oh, I could have gotten up." You know, like it's yeah. And man, come on, that was probably like the combination of the year so far. Like he got absolutely hammered, and what a spiteful puncher, man. I enjoyed it very much. But man, Cam, there's the thing about like these guys in boxing. It baffles me that there's so many dudes out there who are not able to fight on the inside. There's still a lot of people out there who just are so uncomfortable. And once you kind of understand that, and you can just get in there and whack a guy to the body and whack him with like short hooks over the top, it tends to be game over quite soon. And yeah, but that man, that he is a nasty fucking puncher. That kid, dude. I really enjoyed it.
Leon, you kind of like agree with some of the stuff I was saying. Anything you want to add to that?
No, man, that's all good.
All right, let's move on to Virgil Ortiz versus
Virgil
Antonio Orozco, man. Good fight. Like, when this fight was set, I was looking forward to it. I was favouring the new guy, man, Ortiz, man. He's my new guy. I've jumped on his bandwagon, and I did kind of follow Orozco for the last couple of years, and I've always been impressed with him. He's a guy that fought Ramirez, kind of gave Ramirez a tough fight. It was a fun fight, and yeah, perfect kind of learning fight for Ortiz. He fought Mauricio. What's his name? Mauricio.
Herrera.
Yeah, that was the one I was looking for. Mauricio Herrera last out, and I think Herrera's that guy that always kind of tests people, tests new up and comers, and he iced him, man.
Yeah, but he was old as fuck, though, right?
He is, but he still iced him and iced him well. And Orozco, I think, did what Herrera should have done, kind of tested Ortiz a bit, which he did, man. He was kind of clipping him, landing on him, make him think a bit, make him use his boxing brain. But eventually, yeah, Ortiz kind of got to Orozco and dropped him a couple times, 3 in total when the ref waved it off. But these are the fights I like. I was talking to Lim a couple of weeks ago, and like the headlines, it's like Fury versus this person, like Schwartz and this and that, like that. I couldn't give a shit about these fights. Like Orozco with one loss to a world champion, and Ortiz that's up and comer who's kind of still untested. These are the fights that I like, man. These that I get into. Like Steve Rolls versus Golovkin does nothing for me. Like I watch.
I agree.
I
agree, Cam.
Yeah.
It's exactly like you say. It's an up and coming star versus that gatekeeper. You know what I mean? The one who kind of tests the waters a little bit and shows what kind of skill set they have, man. Exactly. I didn't know this Ortiz kid, by the way, because you know me, I'm zoned out of boxing. I didn't even know he was part of Robert Garcia's camp, man. I just realized that when I watched the fight today. I was like, what the fuck? That's Robert Garcia.
And that's why I'm so like happy to kind of be on the bandwagon, because he's sparring people like Mikey and all the other people that Garcia has in his stable, man. So he's getting that high quality sparring, and if he can kind of mix it with them guys, then his future's looking bright.
Yeah, I like the way he throws combos, man. It's fucking vicious.
He picks his punches really well as well for such a young guy. Like, I think he's only like 21 or something. He's a baby, really, when you think about it.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to find his age right now, but yeah, he's pretty young, man. So for him to be like studying like what type of punches to throw, and there was a great case where in the fight against Orozco, kind of what Bradley calls a 45 is kind of a half uppercut, half hook. It was, the angle was there to throw it, and he threw it like he almost like knew that's the punch to throw. I don't know whether Robert Garcia like kind of said it to him in the corner before that round, but it just seems like he knows the punch selection and shit, man. It's really impressive. Did you see this fight, Leon?
No.
Thanks for your honesty.
You fucking wanker. Well, I watched it today, Cam, so not much better either.
And confirming his age right now, yep, 21, born in 1998.
Wow, that's insane.
Yep. All right, let's move on. What else have we got? Leon, you want to start us off with Dubois versus Gorman?
Okay.
You and Chemo, like, from what I remember in the conversating with you guys during this fight, you were kind of... You're a bit unsure about how wild Dubois is. He's like an accident waiting to happen. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think that is fair. I think he did a very good job on Gorman, because Gorman's a good fighter at that level, and I think, you know, it's a very, very good win. But he's still young. It's like, the problem is, I tend to think he's probably better off taking a kind of Wilder style career where we get frustrated and disappointed by his resume. Because I think that actually is not a bad thing, kind of works like different with heavyweights. So I don't think there's any need to rush him. Like, I would have waited another year for this fight, personally, with him.
Fuck you know, man.
If you're thinking you want to make this guy into a champion, like, I don't see him being a world titleist in 2 or 3, winning a world title in maybe 2 years. Like, again, if he's got all the other guys stay around, like, I think you can take your time with him. That's all I'd say.
I see your point because of his age. Like, he's only young, 21, I think, is he? But that quote of yours, like, you could have waited another year, like, that's personally for me. No disrespect to you, Leon. That's like what's wrong with boxing at the moment. Like, even I think Fury came out and said that, like, him and Fury said that his cousin Gorman and Dubois didn't need to fight now. Like, that fight could have been down the road.
Can I say that I wouldn't have had him front and centre in all these build-up fights? I'd have kept him off, you know. You keep a good guy like that, I'd have kept him off TV longer than they did.
Yeah, but that's Fisheyes and having no one else, isn't
it? Yeah. That's the problem. So
that's the issue.
There's a problem from the very start of this, you know, for me.
Yeah, that is the problem. Like, Dubois, Warren's got no one. He's just lost Billy Joe. Yarde just got beat up pretty badly. All he has now is Daniel Dangerous Dynamite Dubois. But Chemo, you kind of echoed.
And Josh.
Warren, Warrington?
Yeah.
Warrington's just not got that it factor though. He's like, I like Warrington, but he just hasn't.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. You're not going to build your stable around him, are you?
No. But yeah, Chemo, like, during the fight, you kind of echoed Leon about Dubois being a bit too easy to hit, a bit too open.
Well, I mean, last time when we talked about Dubois, you thought I was a bit of a hater, right? And I always thought he was a little bit stiff, and I just see a lot of holes in him. I do understand, again, that he's very young. So in that sense, you know, just looking at the fight, like, Gorman is a good matchup for him at this level, right? I don't know about moving too fast. I get what you're saying, though, Leon. If you start building up a guy, and I've said this before, when you start this early, putting a guy on TV, by the time he's like 25, you're basically, you know, at the same stage of getting a world title shot by other dudes who kind of are left in the dark and suddenly blow up by the time they're 29, 28, you know, that kind of age. So it's difficult, Cam. I don't know how they're going to move forward with this. It's eventually he's gonna step up, and I don't know if he's gonna have enough experience. We don't really know anything really about Dubois. Look, does he look good in the ring? I would say he looks okay. That's as far as I'm willing to go. Obviously, he's got power. Obviously, he looks like a good athlete. But I'm not particularly impressed by anything he does. I don't see any extreme talent. There's other guys that are fighting bums right now that I am more impressed with. If I look at somebody like Joshua Buatsi, who has fought fuck all, right? We can both agree on that, right, Cam? If I look at the fundamentals, if I look at the way, you know, his legs look, and I'm not talking physically, like the way he moves, the way he stands, the way he looks very sturdy, solid, the way he puts his punches together, I think those two people, And I understand there's a difference in age, but those two people are miles apart in terms of talent, in my opinion. Now, how that plays out, we don't know. Maybe somebody like Buatsi has absolutely no chin whatsoever, gets knocked the fuck out, and it's over. And maybe Dubois ends up being, a tough motherfucker that just guts it out, in wars at heavyweight. We don't know. But I'm just saying, in terms of the boxing ability, especially the defense, I am not overly impressed. We'll see how he develops over time, but there's just certain guys out there where I look at them and I'm like, this is something special.
I just think you look at especially how heavyweight boxing has gone over the years. You're not peaking at 26.
They're
peaking
quite
at
30, late, actually.
30, 31 when you kind of get. I don't know what this man strength is, but there's definitely a difference, right? You see it. These guys seem to get bigger and stronger in the early 29, 30, 31, around there. I just think you might get there too early with him.
Mm. Well, it depends on how they do it, man. Like, again, if they're going to go the Anthony Yarde route, he's going to be in trouble, man. This is like, and heavyweight boxing is very unforgiving, right? It can go downhill real quick if you're matching up with the wrong dude. So I hope they have no delusions about that. But the way they're hyping him up, and I'm sorry, the UK is a lot of times very guilty about this. And you don't just do it. Yeah, and you don't just do it with boxing, by the way. You do it with all sports. When there's somebody that you want to get behind and root for, it just goes over the top. And I sound like a broken record maybe this show, but in boxing you cannot do this shit because there's repercussions to it, right? You want to fucking take like somebody like Tim Henman and fucking throw his ass all over Wimbledon, he ain't gonna go home with a concussion. You know what I mean? It's I don't know. I don't foresee him going another 6 years, for example, facing guys like Gorman. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to step up at one point, and I don't know how much, growth and development they're going to give him.
He might improve, but I think he probably will improve if he's in the gym as much and doing, and getting good spar. I suppose he's had great sparring, but let's just see. Let's just see. But I just think
it might get halted, Leon. You know what I mean? Like the development of a fighter is not always a linear process, right? Sometimes, there's an intervention halfway through, and we see this many times. And I know it's a shitty example, but just look at Conor Benn. The way they were framing it. Oh, he's developing. Oh, he's developing. Oh, he's developing. And then boom, all of a sudden he runs into this guy. Some unknown French dude who just takes his ass to fucking war. And then you realize, like, hang on, this guy's getting dropped by a fucking nobody? Like, ooh.
But I guess it's slightly different with Gorman. I think he's got a bit more about him than... I just think they just need to pump the brakes about what they do next. That's the problem.
I agree.
About him. He's got something about him. He definitely has. He's obviously got power. That's clear. That's obvious. Let's see.
He can be a fun fighter in the heavyweight division. I don't doubt that. But in this game, you need to be careful, man. He can easily fight a kind of average heavyweight and just get knocked the fuck out.
I think his chin's pretty decent.
Yeah, I think what will happen, Kimo, is I think he's kind of got that
good gatekeeper, maybe.
I think Dubois kind of got that young. Not afraid of anything kind of mentality at the moment. I think if maybe you get stunned or dropped, I think he's going to kind of be a bit less crazy when he's exchanging, because like against Gorman, he was kind of just...
It was wild, man.
Yeah, he was very open at times. Like a better boxer would have capitalized. But as we all know, like the heavyweight division is kind of very top heavy. There was like the triangle, Joshua, Wilder and Fury, and now obviously Ruiz is in that mix. But I think over the next 2-3 years, there's a lot of good learning fights for Gorman that can kind of prepare him. I'd say like 2 years tops. I think after that, like maybe Fish Eyes will try and get him into a WBO mandatory position because that's his belt.
It might take 3 years. Actually, that's fair enough. It might take 3 years to get to a world title.
Yeah, that's fair.
a real one against a proper guy, not some nonsense thing.
Yeah.
Against some kind of weird Eastern European dude.
But that's all I really got to say. So, shall we move on?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, what's next on the agenda? The suitcase in the centre. Golovkin rolls. Let's get some shitty fights out of the way. Just like
let's do this really quickly. Rubbish. Nobody cares.
Khan Dib. I know Billy Dib was a late replacement for the Indian dude that got in a car crash and then couldn't fight, and they got Billy Dib on late notice. But it looked like a high school kid beating up a primary school kid. Man, it wasn't good to watch. Like, Dib was getting hurt in there, and it's like, for what? Like, why are you doing this? Because you want to get the Saudi money and you want to pretend that you're some big star in Saudi, man. Nah, bro. Like, that's not fair. Like, you shouldn't be beating up someone much smaller than you. Golovkin rolls again. Like, Golovkin, like, you're a high caliber fighter. You shouldn't be like laying this guy out who's a decent guy. Like, I hate when they kind of throw the tagline about Rocky story. Like, nah, man. Like, you can seriously get hurt by this dude.
Yeah, garbage fight.
And then Fury versus Schwartz. It's like Fury's coming out dressed like Apollo Creed, all the American stars and stripes, going on like he's a big star in the States. And like, what, he's fighting this guy, and then he's fighting another guy on Independence Day weekend, like, that nobody knows, nobody cares about. It's like, the momentum of that Wilder fight. The momentum of that Wilder fight is totally gone, and all they're talking about, oh yeah, we'll fight again next year, contract is signed. It's like, I don't care about none of that. You guys are the top three. There's a fourth heavyweight guy now in the mix, and you guys are just fighting nobodies. Like, who wants to see Wilder Ortiz too? No one cares about that fight.
Tell him, Cam.
It's frustrating, man. But you guys go have a little minute and shit on these fights.
Rubbish. Golovkin was pointless waste of time. I don't know what that thing was that you were talking about with Amir Khan, but I didn't watch one split second of any of that stuff.
You didn't lose anything by not
watching. No, I'm not no interest in that at all. And who cared? Like, Tyson knocked a dude out about time, right? But the guy wasn't up to much. So garbage.
Well, let me touch on the heavyweight for a second. Cam, I find these type of fights so pointless because obviously there's a low risk factor when you fight somebody like Schwartz, right? But it is still boxing, and it's still the heavyweight division. You have two humongous paychecks on the table. Why are we doing this? Like, I again, from many different perspectives, I do not understand it. It's not like you're the youngest guy in the world. You have all these money-making, fantastic fights to engage in. Why are we doing this shit? I honestly don't get it.
He's got his money. Like, they paid him too much money to be on the fucking network in the first place.
It's just, I just don't get it. Like, and again, this stuff backfires. I'm not talking out of my ass. It's the same with AJ not making the Wilder fight, fighting a fucking fat motherfucker, thinking like, oh, it's all gonna be great. I'm gonna, just continue what I'm doing, and then you get knocked out. And what happens? The Wilder fight falls through, and now it's not as big as it once was. Like, it's just such a dumb fucking mentality, and I don't understand why promoters keep doing it. And it's this whole thing, I don't know if it's marinating, like 5 years ago, marinating was like the thing in boxing. We're going to marinate the fuck out of everything like it's a barbecue. And now it's, I don't know what it is. It's just these stupid Eddie Hearn, Shelley Finkel, back and forth BS, And at the end of the day, you fucking lost your opportunity. You better pray that AJ rectifies this shit.
Let's be honest, the Wilder Tyson fight, if it happens next year, it will be just as big. I'm pretty sure. They know what they're doing. He made his money. They paid him up front. I wouldn't be surprised if Wilder is the last fight on his 5-fight contract, whatever it is, on ESPN.
I agree, Leon.
It's just for all these people to make easy money.
I agree, Leon, but I kind of want someone to fuck up the plans. I want fucking Ortiz to land a big right hook on Wilder or something.
So do I. Yeah, fuck these people.
Which he already did, by the way. Look at the first fight. Yeah. Wilder isn't some guy who's like Floyd Mayweather who's never going to get hit. You know what I mean? There's been many fights where it's shaky shit, man. Like, you need to be careful with this guy. Why would you take this risk? I don't understand it.
I just want their plans to get fucked up just for taking the piss out of us, because that's what they've done. They made an agreement after that first fight. Like, let's just milk it a bit. Let's take our time. Let's make more money. I 100% know they made a secret agreement, because they kind of get on behind the scenes. But that's just taking the piss out of us boxing fans. So fuck them. I hope the plans go to waste.
It could very easily be that case, Cam. Honestly, we've just seen evidence of that with AJ. It can very easily happen. And the thing that I don't understand is, yes, it was an intense fight. So maybe Fury was like, I don't want to get in the ring with this guy straight away again. But I can understand that to a certain degree. I don't want to battle that sort of thought. But at the end of the day, like, this rematch is going to be fucking huge, man. Like, to me, this was another fight that kind of blew up in the mainstream, right? I don't know about you guys, but I've noticed a lot of exposure on I saw this shit on CNN, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it was big. And it wasn't just big beforehand, it was bigger after, which I think is kind of special. When people start talking about a fight afterwards because it was so damn good and they were at such a dramatic, iconic moment, a classic moment. I have to give Fury his credit in this respect. Like, that moment where he got off the canvas is almost like iconic. That shit got replayed over and over and over on every fucking network.
But Kima, the thing is, they know they're not giving. They know that we will care when it comes round. That's the problem. Like,
not if Wilder gets laid out, man.
Yeah,
if Wilder gets laid out.
They're taking a risk there, but they're taking a slight risk. But they'll probably get to it, and it'll do big, and they'll be fine. But
they'll probably get away with it. They'll
probably get away with it. That's the issue. They'll get away with it on the back of us, or not the back of me, because I ain't paying shit for shit.
Exactly. I'm not fucking paying for Schwartz. You know what I mean?
But let me hold now. I'm never going to another fucking Matchroom show. None of these cunts are getting another penny from me. Not one of them. Maybe some small hall shit. Fuck Warren. Fuck Matchroom. I'm keeping my money. They're not getting it. They will fucking burn in hell.
Exactly. And let me put that on record as well, just in case anybody ever comes again to me with the argument of, oh, you will pay for it. Mate, I don't pay for any of this fucking garbage out of principle. Even if I've got fucking billions of dollars, I still wouldn't pay for something like this. I would never pay for fucking Schwartz against Fury, and I would sure as hell not pay for Mayweather fucking Pacquiao too. I would rather eat dog shit off the street than put money in Floyd's pocket. I have never paid for anything related to Mayweather. Ever.
And the same with Pacquiao. If he wants to make that fight, fuck him as well.
Yeah, exactly. And fuck his shoulder too.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pay money for that shit.
Chemo,
anyway, sorry, little rant again, once again.
Chemo, you often talk about eating dog shit, man. Like, you got some obsession.
Weird petty.
It's a very effective way, Cam, of making a point when you really want to state something that you don't want to do. I don't know. It's just something I throw in there.
All right, let's move on. It was a fight a while ago because last show was just after Joshua Ruiz, so we had the World Boxing Super Series in Riga. Did you guys see Briedis versus Glowacki? That's like...
Okay. I only saw the highlights, I think. Didn't this end in a knockout?
Yeah, it was crazy, man. So first round, nothing much happening, feeler out. Second round, like, Glowacki was kind of landing a few left hands kind of behind the back of the head of Marius Briedis, but Briedis was kind of showing the back of his head, so referee kind of warned him a bit. Glowacki did the same thing again, and Briedis retaliated by just kind of slashing his elbow right across Glowacki's face. Glowacki kind of took the elbow well, man. Like, if that was anyone else, like, that would have broke their jaw, but he kind of took it well and thought, okay, I'm going to play on this. Kind of went down like a footballer, rolling around a bit. Really experienced referee, Robert Bird, kind of told him, yo, just get up, man, get up. And then he deducted a point from Briedis, and they continued. And then Briedis kind of, I think he landed a right hand and dropped Glowacki. Glowacki got up. It was close to the end of the round, and he was shook. He was just trying to, like when you're just desperate to throw something back because the guys are throwing everything at you. He was just doing that, leaving himself open. The bell's gone. Bird's not heard it. the fight's probably continued another, 10 seconds, in which time that Briedis has landed another shot on Glowacki. Glowacki gone down again. Managed to get up. There's fucking, no one know what's going on. There's people at the side of the... I don't know if they were part of the Latvian commission. They're, waving, X to, Bird. Bird's, looking to wave it off. Then he doesn't wave it off. They go sit down, fucking... take them 1 minute rest, and then they come out in the next round, and then Glowacki kind of gets hurt and gets stopped again. But it was crazy, man. Glowacki's team filed a protest afterwards to the WBO saying it should be an immediate rematch, and I don't know. I don't think WBO handled the situation properly, because they said, well, it's out of their jurisdiction. It's up to the Latvian Boxing Commission. But look, Latvian Boxing Commission's not going to fucking throw their own guy Briedis out, are they? They're not going to say, yeah, he's disqualified and shit. So what they kind of settle upon is the winner of Briedis and Dorticus for the final of the Super Series will have to fight Glowacki immediately. So that's how they settled it. But it was a fucking ridiculous... I've never seen anything like that, man. It was crazy. I've kind of always liked Briedis a bit, but when he threw the elbow, I thought, you're a dirty motherfucker, man. And he even mentioned afterwards, he goes, yeah, I feel a bit bad about throwing the elbow. And then he even mentioned afterwards in the post-fight about the bell. They asked him, oh, did you hear the bell? He goes, yeah, I heard it. It just continued, didn't it? And it's like, what?
Did he say in it? Yeah, he just continued in it.
No, he didn't say in it. He didn't go on money on him. But yeah, man, it was crazy, man. Did you guys not see this?
Nope.
Well, it's on Sky Sports. Sky Sports is boxing's YouTube channel, because Sky Sports have got the rights now to show World Boxing Super Series in the UK. So nice 1080p, Leon. Watch it tonight if you're smoking a bit of weed before bed.
I will do.
I've watched the zone highlights of it, and the elbow was fucking legit, yeah. But it was a retaliation, right? He punched him properly in the back, and then Briedis was like, all right, you want to go down that route? Bang. And he just hit him with the fucking elbow.
Yeah, it was nasty. I think Briedis used to be a kickboxer as well, isn't it? So you're kind of used to throwing elbows and shit. But yeah, that's unexcusable for me, man.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that he had a background in kickboxing, man.
I think he did. I might be wrong, but I'm sure they mentioned it on the show.
Yeah, but mate, Glowacki took a fucking beating in that fight, though.
He did.
That cannot be healthy, man. He got the fucking shit beaten out of him. I don't know what it is, man, about these fucking these Eastern European big boys. They tend to fucking throw down, man. I like Briedis too, man. He's a sturdy guy. I remember watching against Usyk, and I was like, this guy can fucking fight, man.
Yeah. He's
very solid. I think solid is the right word to describe him.
Yeah, and Dorticus stopped thingy on the undercard to beat
Dorticus!
He stopped to beat on the undercard, so it's going to be Dorticus versus Briedis in the final. And I like Dorticus, but he's too wild sometimes. I think technically Briedis is a lot better, and I think he'll beat Dorticus in the final. I think he won't stop him. I think it'll go to points, but it's a pretty decent final for the second year of the Cruiserweights, but nothing compared to the first year.
Yeah, the Cruisies always deliver, mate. They're even though it's not maybe groundbreaking names or whatever, they always fucking deliver, man. These guys just know how to fight. Was it your boy Cam who was doing the commentary? Dorticus.
No. It was
what's the fucking guy's name?
Ronald McIntosh.
Yeah, with a penetrating jab. He's so cringy, man. I can't deal with that guy.
It was amazing. During the summer, I just flicked onto BBC One, and it was Wimbledon. And I heard his voice. I thought, shit, man, he's expanding, man. He's getting into tennis and stuff.
He did fucking Wimbledon, mate. Are you serious?
He did fucking Wimbledon, mate.
Oh, that's just class, isn't it?
Classy up, right. All right, let's move on. Unless, Leon didn't see it, so Leon hasn't got anything to add. But I don't really want to talk too much about it. Wellington versus Galahad, horrible fight. Galahad held too much. Referee didn't really do anything about the holding. I'm glad Warrington won it, even though it was a close fight, because Galahad can't win a world title in that manner, in my opinion.
I'm glad he lost. His style's horrible.
Yeah, I hated that shit, man, and I'm glad he lost it, but that's all I want to say.
And his brother put drugs in his drink. Yeah, right. Yeah.
You
know who you are. Get fucked.
You want to add anything, Kimo?
What is it with these Ingle fighters that want to like jab and grab? What the fuck is going on with that shit, man? Is that a tactic?
Brooke did that to Porter, didn't he? Really?
Well, it's exactly the same thing. It's the exact same style, exactly the same type of fuckery that goes on in the ring. Yeah, exactly. Galahad is one of the most unlikable fighters in boxing for me. Like, he can go fuck himself. I'm glad he lost as well. And fucking Leeds in it. I'm happy Josh is still rolling strong, man. Got respect for that guy. Still overachieving.
Absolutely.
Right. You have to say that because Ruth is behind you, lurking
with a knife.
It's about dinner. Where's my dinner?
Fucking glossy, mate, because it's Leeds, isn't it?
Glossy operator, isn't she?
Yeah, exactly, mate.
All right. Any other fights that you guys want to talk about, which I have not mentioned so far?
Ooh, go on.
No, I was thinking that guy, the Scottish bantamweight, who's been on BBC. Have you seen some of his fights that have been on the BBC front? Cam
McGregor, or you talking
about?
No,
the little. Oh, sorry, Ruth texting me. I can't remember. Don't worry about it.
You got anything, Kimo?
Well, I heard today that there's going to be a massive Welsh clash with Joe Cordina. Have you heard about this? Well, it's actually a future fight, not a past fight. But I do want to talk about those amazing matchroom cards that we have coming up. Really, really exciting game.
No, I'm not talking about fights that are upcoming. Any fights that have happened that you want to talk about?
Oh, geez, so strict. God, has there really been anything else? Well, if I could just touch on AJ, if I'm allowed, Cam, even though last time I passed out and missed the show, which I do sincerely apologize for.
Well, I did want to get into AJ anyway. I wanted to get into the whole Saudi thing rematch. So give us your thoughts on the first fight initially, because obviously...
can you do that? You're going to go back to the first fight?
Yeah, but he's only going to be quick. Go on, just be quick, Kimo.
Right.
Let me put it this way. I'll give my thoughts on the future fight based upon the first fight. Yeah, little bit of analysis, mate. Come on. Look, I think it's a fascinating rematch. And first of all, I'm glad it's happening because I do think it's very exciting. I watched it several times, Cam, because it's one of those fights where you really want to just, study it properly to understand what's happening, understand the faults of AJ and what Ruiz did well. And I think, again, because of the drama, and don't get me wrong, it was a high drama, right? This was a fantastic upset, and I think everybody kind of shat themselves when it happened. I can't imagine how excited Leon was. I think AJ actually did all right in the fight. Yes, he was a little bit weird, I guess, in the fight, and there was a lot of speculation about how he was feeling and yada, yada, yada. I think all of that is a bit BS. I think he looked the same as he usually does, where he's not great, but he operates behind some decent fundamentals, and he was doing well with the jab. And I think he can do that in the rematch. I honestly think so. And I think Ruiz's success kind of gets overblown a little bit because he did show some faults that he has in other fights as well. I think Ruiz is an excellent counterpuncher. But when his opponent doesn't give him that opportunity, he kind of just shuts down a little bit. He doesn't really do well when he's leading. And when he gets a good jab in the face, I don't know. I didn't see that much success from him. The only success for Ruiz came when Joshua just went a bit apeshit and started exchanging with him. And one thing AJ did terrible was obviously when he's hurt, he continues to exchange. He gets that dog in him, just like he did with White and with Klitschko. So I think that's where the opening lies. It's so intriguing though because we've obviously seen that with Ruiz and with AJ, one punch can change the fight. So I don't think it's a given that Ruiz wins this rematch. I think that's all I'll say about the fight for now. About the whole Saudi thing, I don't think it really makes sense, even though I'm probably going to go to the fight because I will actually physically be there for a project. It's not going to have the atmosphere that would be, super electric, like doing it in the UK. I mean, having a rematch of that magnitude in the UK would be fucking lit, right? It would be a huge production. The crowd would be insane. Even doing it, in Vegas or whatever, people would travel in masses for that shit. I know that. And doing it in Saudi is just a bit of an anticlimax in terms of the whole event. So I'm a bit disappointed by that. I hope to eventually go there and kind of check out the atmosphere. I didn't end up going to that other fight that was done there, like the Groves fight. But from what I saw on TV is that it just kind of looked boring in terms of atmosphere, which is a shame, right? An AJ fight is not just a fight. It's a spectacle. It's an event. And it's just a shame to do it in that kind of environment. And the whole argument about boxing is a global sport and whatever, shit doesn't really apply, man. Like, come on. Do it where it's exciting. You see it with guys like Terence Crawford. You can make him fight in a dump, in front of 12 people, or if you do it in a place like Omaha, Nebraska, you get fucking 12,000 people coming out, and all of a sudden the guy looks like a rock star. It's a huge difference, and it really adds to the overall experience of it.
It's not global sport, but you want to take it to places that it's going to inspire people to take up the sport and to grow the sport. I'm sorry, you're not who are you inspiring without being who needs to be not many people in Saudi need to be a boxer to make their money. You're not inspiring a young generation, are you?
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with that, because there is a surgence of like getting into exercise and health and things like that. A dude like AJ, he's a bit of a PR machine, right? Like, even though he's cringy as fuck for the mainstream.
This is all about money. Everything, this whole decision is about money. Nothing.
No, I agree. But I'm just saying, like, it doesn't take away from the fact that sending him to, like, gyms with kids over there wouldn't do good. I know that will do good. But you're right. At the end of the day, they don't give a fuck about that. This is about money.
Yeah, this is not about. This is, they're trying to change their the global perspective of the country. That's what they're at. That's what they're doing, right? I mean, which they've got every right to do. But that's what it's about. I mean, really. I mean, who's in there?
Yeah, guys, but can I ask you guys a question, though? Like, don't you feel like as boxing media, we have the responsibility to discuss the human aspect of this entire situation?
Yes, we do.
I mean,
we can go down that path, but it'll get very long and very boring.
I don't know. Like, I just think my conscience will not allow me to discuss the X's and O's of this fight without discussing the human plight that is taking place in Saudi Arabia.
Well, do elaborate on this.
Are you concerned about the bombs in Yemen? Is that your problem, Dan?
I do. I think just a spillover. I mean, if anything, if we learn anything from the situation in Syria in 2010 to 2011, I feel like we have to be cognizant of the consequences of supporting these acts, even if indirectly so. I'm sorry, I have to say it.
Oh, I don't know what you're up to, but I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
You're right, but I completely 100% agree with you. I think morally it's wrong, but when there's, they're in the business of making money and making capitalism work for themselves. They don't have a moral. I wouldn't expect. I wasn't shocked to find out that Eddie Hearn didn't have a moral compass. Like, that wasn't news to anyone, was it? About that kind of thing.
What I'm just curious about is, nobody knows the answer to this question except the people who actually make the fights and stuff, but how does a fight in Saudi Arabia with the time difference, with the capacity of the crowd over there, how is that more profitable than having a fight in Vegas or the UK? I'm just curious. I'm genuinely curious, because obviously they have a good reason for doing that. And I know that with the pocket, the $8 million or whatever, is a huge chunk of money to like start with, but like in the long term, it was like $80-something million.
Yeah, I think it was $88 million as a site fee, pretty much. I mean,
yeah,
you're gonna make money, even just selling international rights. Yeah, they're golden. Like, they're gonna make the same amount of money. AJ is not that big a star, as the Americans keep telling us. He's not that big a star over there. That is going to generate more money than Sky box office. It's an absolute, no-brainer. You
know what? He's not, but this past fight did get a ton of domestic buzz. Like, I've always been really critical of a lot of people's, opinion that AJ was a big star in the States. But after that Ruiz fight, that fight
zone.
was such a domestic storyline. And I
He's
just feel like it's kind of a shame to kind of like halt that momentum by having a fight that's 16 hours time difference from the States.
Of course, he's on the zone, so it doesn't. They're not gonna. They don't. It's not gonna really. Sorry.
Yeah. No. It's fine. But I just find that kind of odd because, like, you're right, Leon. Like with the zone, everything is it's not pay per view. Obviously, it's not predicated on buys, whatnot. But they still care about views and stuff. And it's like, how do you really get up for a fight that's 16 hours away from you? That's taking place like in a country that you're so unfamiliar with. I mean, not to sound too shallow, but it just seems like an odd dynamic to deal with.
I do agree with you on that, Lim, because the overall sentiment, and it kind of touches on the Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder thing that I said before. This kind of blew up as a Rocky story, right? Like it was the big muscled guy getting beat by the little fat kid, and it became a mainstream storyline. I think I sent you guys even like a screenshot of like news sites and everything where it became a front headline, and it got a lot of exposure, and that only feeds into the narrative of the rematch. I think we maybe underestimate actually how fucking big that rematch would be if promoted properly. Like if they would go all out on the promotion, get the Matchroom train behind it, get the US invested as well, get the Mexican market involved. I think it'd be absolutely fucking humongous, man. And I do agree with you. Like putting it in Saudi just kind of puts a little bit of a dud on it. But it just kills a bit of the buzz.
But money up front, people are going to take money up front because that's easy money. So that's the truth. They've taken the money because they're like, well, that's that done. Anything else on top of that is a bonus. We don't have to work as hard. We can hopefully AJ gets a win. We get past this thing, move on quickly. That's what I think they've done. Like we don't have to invest. The money's there. We can just do this, try and get this done quickly. Doesn't have to be a big event. Doesn't matter where it is. Get the win, get back on the belts, and get back to lighter. You know, that's what I think they're doing.
So, are you guys favoring AJ in a rematch?
Oh, man, what do you think, man? I'm still torn. I think that if AJ is a bit mentally switched on and makes it an ugly like Klitschko type of fight, I think he can win. Because I don't think Ruiz is that fucking good that he cannot be beaten. Come on.
No, I agree, but it's just that like I've had these discussions with Camp so many times. There's not many fighters in the game right now who changes their style as dramatically as AJ does once they get hurt. AJ is he just goes full retard. Like you mentioned earlier that it was like his dog in him. It's partially that, but it's also the fact that he's a very crude fighter. He just, once he gets hit with a good shot, his technique it gets even worse than it already is. And the thing about AJ's jab is that it's so slow that in the first fight, Ruiz was just countering the fuck out of his jab so easily. And if AJ still tries to throw that shitty ass jab to the body like he did in the first fight, then he's fucked. But if he just tries to keep everything long, I think he'll probably win the rounds. But again, I think Ruiz is gonna clip him at some point, and I feel like in that time span, like he's just so vulnerable in this situation that I just have to favor Ruiz in a rematch.
He does have a bit of con in him where he does. Like you said, he goes full retard mode when he gets hit. He just doesn't really recover, and he gasses. He becomes very lethargic. His hands drop. He just something mentally and physically happens with him that is very odd. Like he just cannot deal with. And I think the Klitschko fight was a bit of an anomaly where Klitschko maybe just let him recover for too long, or I don't know what it was, but that comeback, like against most elite fighters is not possible. Once they've got AJ hurt, you're going to eventually take him out. Like his legs go as well, man. It's really peculiar. I don't know if it has to do with his muscles or like there's no oxygen going to his fucking brain or something. Like
I think it was those Skype calls with Fatima. I think they really fucked him up, bro.
Ooh, Khan's wife.
Yeah. He just all of Khan's negative attributes just transferred over.
Through her for JJ, that's very well possible, man.
Especially with Skype's new video quality. I mean, it was like the real thing for AJ, His legs got weak and he just kind of got fucked afterwards.
HD.
Who are you picking, Cam?
I'm kind of like you, like I've talked to Dan about this, and I think actually I talked to you as well on WhatsApp about.
You talk to me too fucking much, man.
That's
Go
fair.
on.
That's fair. Just that Ruiz is kind of feeling himself a bit too much, which you can understand. Like he kind of did the Rocky story, beat the guy when he's the big underdog and stuff, but I think he's going to take his eye off the ball a bit, and I think AJ's not necessarily, to your point, has to do like the Vlad plan, but I think if he's more switched on, just keeps it long. Like he was kind of shooting the jab to the body of Ruiz. It's like, why are you doing that? Like that's unnecessary. He's the smaller guy. Shoot the jab to his head. Protect your chin behind your shoulder, innit? Like if you're gonna shoot jab to his body, your chin's exposed. It was a weird tactic, but AJ had him hurt. He had him dropped. I think if AJ lands a really clean right hand, I think it could be night out for Ruiz. So I honestly do think it's a 50-50. But if you had to kind of make a bet now, I'd probably favour AJ. I think he's got much more to lose, and I think he'll go into the rematch much more focused. Like I don't know if you guys saw that Sky special with Anna Woolhouse, and he just even looked weird in that when she was asking him questions about the conspiracy theories, like, did you have a panic attack? He's like, oh, what's a panic attack? It's like, what? What do you mean, what's a panic attack? And then, what else did she ask him? Like, in the ring walk, he didn't look right and all that. And the way he answered, it didn't look normal, man. It looked like he was hiding something, and I think it'd be one of those things that'll come out in like 10 years when he's retired, and like we'll find out the true story and shit. But until then, I think in the rematch he'll be a lot more focused. I think he'll be better, and I think he'll stop Ruiz.
Lim, did you watch AJ's interviews as well? What did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, I could talk about that for days. I was just like, his body language, his eyes, the way, like, his hair, like, he didn't shave that day. Like, there's just so many things that you could take away from that interview.
AKA, you didn't watch it?
No, fuck that. Dude, I don't, like, I could see Joshua winning the fight just because Ruiz is partying like El Chapo in his prime. Like, he's just taking over Sinaloa cartel, which I love, because, like, I'm just fascinated by fucking just how Mexican people party. Like, I just love Mexican people in general, and so I'm rooting for Ruiz so hard, but he does seem like he's partying pretty hard, but at the same time, the fight is, 12 weeks away? And, I mean, if Ruiz was able to fuck Joshua up on 4 or 5 weeks' notice, then I don't think there's any reason to think that he can't do it again on a full camp. And I just think Ruiz is a better fighter. He's so much faster than AJ. I mean, that's obvious, but he is so much faster than Joshua. It's crazy. And Joshua's never faced a combination puncher like Ruiz in his career because, first of all, there's just not many fighters like that in heavyweight. And I really feel like that was like Ruiz's coming out party. So even though he is probably not as focused this time, I think just the confidence from that first fight is going to negate any kind of lack of preparation on his part. So I don't see how this is a 50-50 fight. I mean, I could see Joshua winning the fight, but if you're a betting man, I don't see how you would put these odds at 50-50.
What about you?
You know what?
Go on.
Go on. You want to ask Leon or what?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Go for it, because I know he needs to get fucked soon and go make dinner.
Yeah, exactly. I'm riding with Ruiz, of course, because his basically his work here is already done, right? We're golden.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good with him, but I'm gonna still ride with him. Hope he wins. But if he does lose, it doesn't matter because I know he has given us that gift, and he's also given us a gift as we know that AJ will lose again in his career. So I'm glad he's enjoying himself. Let him party hard. If he loses, hey ho, job is already completed. But no, I think he'll do very well. I think he will do well. I think it will be a close fight again. I think he'll definitely land on AJ. If he can take AJ, get him late, because I think he gasses before he gets hurt, so he'll gas anyway. But I think AJ might come out and try and blitz him, Old school AJ.
Dude, if he does that, I could see Ruiz fucking knocking him out in the first round.
But I say one thing, though, is that punch in that first fight was an unusual punch, right? landing it that behind the ear, doing that, because I think he was concussed from that moment on.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see that was an out of the norm punch to land, I would say. Not many people get hit with that. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Glad the rematch is happening. Don't like where it's happening. But, you know.
Will you go to diarrhea?
Say again?
Would you fly over to diarrhea, Leon, for that fight?
No, I would not fly there.
Okay.
Oh, come on, man. You work for fucking DAZN. You've already sold your soul to the devil anyway.
I've done some work with people at DAZN, but only as a supplier. So never, you know, I wouldn't suggest
This is a
thing.
totally
Right.
random.
I've got to go.
Sorry.
I've got to go. But Lomachenko's going to knock out Campbell. All right.
What round?
8, 9. There you go. See you later, boys.
All right.
Cheers, Leon. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
You know, I just want to add one thing about this whole Ruiz AJ thing.
What?
I feel like what? Jeez, bro! I thought you were Leon for a second.
Go on.
I just want to say, go on, mate. I just want to say that I feel like people are, even though, like, I love Andy Ruiz, man, but I do think people are overhyping him a little bit off this victory. Like, and to Leon's point about this being like a once in a lifetime punch, I don't think it is, because we see AJ get hit like this before. Even Dillian White like managed to land on him in an exchange with a hook, right, and hurt him pretty bad. So it's not a rarity, man. And Ruiz isn't without fault. I mean, I've rewatched this fight many times, and he let AJ off the hook quite a few times as well. Like after he hurt him, and then the round after, he was just kind of like plodding forward. And again, this is not something that's rare for fucking Ruiz. We've seen him do this in the Parker fight, for example, as well, where he has no sense of urgency and he's just plodding forward, and not really pulling the trigger. I'm not 100% convinced. I wouldn't be surprised, obviously, but I'm not 100% convinced that he can recreate this drama, especially with an AJ who comes in as a bit of a spoiler and makes it ugly and clinches and uses his physical size. You know, think about like a Klitschko versus Povetkin type of fight. If it, you know, leaning on him and just making it ugly. If he's got a smart trainer, he's gonna tell him to exploit him like that. Keep the punches long, and when he comes on the inside, just fucking tie him up. And even Rob McCracken, I think Rob McCracken does get it, because Cam, correct me if I'm wrong. In the corner, he was saying during the fight, "I don't want any hooks. Only ones and twos," right? That's what he was saying in the corner. And what does AJ do? He goes and fucking throws a bunch of hooks with the hooker. Come on, man. Like I think there's definitely better preparation to be had here. And people are shitting on McCracken, by the way, for no fucking reason, because he was giving the right advice, and AJ wasn't following it.
I think he was a bit panicked, man. McCracken. I think he could have like spoke to AJ a bit more, because I think him being panicked kind of panicked AJ a bit.
No, how can you panicked in what? Because it was screaming at him?
Yeah, he was like, "All right, mate, we need to start doing something now. All right, mate, we need to start doing this now. All right, mate." Like it's like he's basically saying like, "You're not done anything good. Like you need to like."
I don't remember that, but I just remember him screaming at him, saying, "Do not." I mean, it can't be more clear than that. Do not throw any hooks. Like it wasn't rocket science, this fight, to figure out what was wrong. You don't stand there with a dude who throws better and faster hooks than you. You keep it fucking simple. Well, yeah, I mean, it's easier said than done, obviously, but we'll see, man. Are you coming to diarrhea then, Lim?
Me?
Yeah, man.
How will I even get there?
You're an American citizen, man. You can easily come in. They love you over there.
Trump.
When's the fight?
When is it, November?
Trump won't let him back in the country if he goes to Saudi.
Nah, fuck it, man. Let's go to Canelo Kovalev instead.
Dude, imagine if fucking Ruiz versus Joshua was in fucking Mexico, man. Oh my god, I'd be so turned on for that shit.
Outdoor.
Yeah, but that wouldn't ever happen, man.
Dude, I just want one fight in fucking Mexico. Like, can we just get one big ass Mexican card? Canelo and AJ on the same card, fucking Mexican Independence Day, and Ciudad. Oh my god.
Ciudad de Mexico.
Qué rico.
Why do they not do that more often, by the way? Is it a money thing, or is it just like a safety thing?
it's money. Just the ticket prices would be so fucking low, man.
Yeah, of course.
But I mean, I just feel like it should be on them, for Canelo to say, fuck it, I'll skip a paycheck for this fight. I just want to show out for my people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's surprising how they always talk about Mexican pride, but they will never actually fight in Mexico, for the people. At least that's something that you cannot fault the UK guys. They always kind of go back home. Cam, do you remember when AJ announced that his next 3 fights would be in Wembley? Wembley?
Yeah, and then
you remember that poster that people started posting that's putting on Twitter everywhere? Like, whatever happened to this concept? Just announced AJ's next 3 fights in Wembley. I keep saying Wembley. What the fuck? I've gone full retard.
You sound like Mr. Gibbs.
Yeah. Boxingvoice.com.
Yeah, that was funny, and Wembley must have been pissed when he signed for that fight in MSG. They must have started phoning the lawyers and say, "What's going on here, man? We better get some money."
Nah, that Saudi cap, man, fucking takes over everything.
All right, we're kind of going long already, just 2 hours into it. So let's quickly get a few more things. A former opponent of AJ, Mr. White, Chemo. I'm not too bothered about the fight with Rivas, more about the build-up and the aftermath of it. What's your take on this whole deal with White getting popped and Mr. Hearn and his team not, making... My biggest problem with it is Rivas' team were not made aware. Like, if UK anti-doping allow the fight to happen, and VADA are allowing the fight to happen, and the British Boxing Board of Control are allowing the fight to happen, just out of courtesy, you should tell Rivas' team that White's got popped, we're waiting for whatever, B-sample, some type of hearing, whatever, but his team should be known about this issue. That's my biggest problem with it.
Yeah, but they've cleared him the fight, Cam. They've cleared him.
It's fucking disgusting, especially with White having previous as well. It's absolutely disgusting. Every time Hearn talks about someone that's not with him, that's popped. Like, he fucking throws the fucking kitchen sink at them. But when it's his own guy, oh, let's wait for the B sample. Oh, he was cleared to fight. It's fucking disgusting, mate.
Oh, jeez, Cam, I've never seen you this emotional about it.
I was pissed, man.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie looked pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. The whole thing, and his frustration was also showing. I think you see a couple of interviews where he was proper animated as well, where he's just under so much fire, and I think he was secretly a bit pissed off at White as well because it just makes him look very bad.
Yeah,
and he's got to do the firefighting, obviously, and the whole thing just sounds very shady, man. To me, the biggest question is, why is he getting cleared to fight? It's one thing not to inform Rivas, but why is he getting cleared to fight? And I'm not a drug testing expert, but I never heard any valid argument as opposed to why he should still be allowed to get in the ring. So that was a bit confusing to me, and I still haven't heard an answer. And I guess it's just kind of going to blow over a little bit, and eventually people will move on. I mean, we tend to have a bit short-term memory about these things. I think White will eventually just get back on the horse and take on some decent fights.
It's crazy though, because it has gone kind of quiet, and you know what's going to happen? He'll probably serve some 6-month ban, just like no one's heard of White. Next minute, a fight's booked for February, O2 Arena, pay-per-view, because his ban's up and all that. Some shady shit will definitely happen, but is he, Cam, just for my information, is he now officially under a suspension or not? I know WBFC have suspended from their rankings.
They've suspended him, but not the commission, right?
As far as I know, no.
Right?
But it's gone like I said, it's gone very quiet. I'm not really sure what stage it's up to or what's going on. I know lawyers of White are involved and stuff, but yeah, some shady shit's gonna happen, bro.
Yeah, it's really, really weird. I honestly do not get it, and we don't. This type of situation, as far as I know, you don't really see that very often. Usually, what the commission says, the sanction bodies will follow, right? But now it's kind of in between, and it's very, very very strange situation. But,
yeah, we're getting some like feedback off your mic, so if you got an opinion on this situation with White, go ahead. If not, can you just mute Mike, please, Lemmy?
You're terrible, Kim.
It's not my fault you have terrible
just
connection.
talk about Bad Bunny, bro. Come on.
I think I'd want to see Dillian White versus Gerald Miller, like in a gladiator style match until death. So like they can get whatever weapons they want, and they could just kill each other or whoever.
Bare knuckle boxing.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty good. But like unlimited rounds, you know. And then Eddie Hearn has a final say, like the thumbs up or the thumbs down.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
But what's next, Cam? What's next on the agenda?
What else you got, Cam?
Next on the agenda, I want your and Chemo's opinion on Matchroom signing Billy Joe Saunders.
What kind of an item is that?
I want your opinion.
I want to hear Lim's opinion on this.
I want your opinion.
Lim, what do you think, Lim?
Is Billy Joe going to fight at 168 or 160?
He said wherever the fights are, so I think he's kind of willing to go down for the right fight, but at the moment he's got a title at 168.
He has a full, like the super title?
He's got the WBO full title. He won it in as a vacant when Gilberto Ramirez vacated and stepped up to 175.
So he has the full on title at 168.
Yeah, WBO.
Who did he fight? Who did he fight to get it?
He's fought someone nobody, man. WBO, innit? Warren belt.
Man, I have no comment. What about you, Chemo?
All these questions and then no comment. Yeah, I just think it's a bit ironic, Cam. Like after all the shit talk, you know, and fucking Frank Warren say, "Oh, Bill this, Bill that." I love the way he says "Bill," by the way. I just, yeah, it's just funny to me. Like at the end of the day, like Bill is a fucking, you know, he just wants money, and I guess he realized at one point, like, listen, let me join this sleaze bag and like get something out of my career, because obviously I'm not really achieving a lot at this point. I do agree with it though, from a career perspective. Like Heron could probably do a much better job than fucking Fish Eyes at this point.
No, that's fair. I just find it interesting that he's a bit of a PR nightmare, and Hearn always wants to kind of clean cut guys, and I think he's definitely told Bill to be on his best behaviour, because some of that shit he was doing last year, getting fined and stuff like that for some of those videos he put on social media about paying that woman to slap that guy, and all, like Hearn don't want none of that shit, man. Because like Hearn kind of shipped off O'Hara Davis, didn't he? After like O'Hara made comments about Liverpool and stuff like that, and that, you know, so I think he's got double trouble with Billy Joe. The only thing about the Billy Joe signing is it almost seems like desperation a bit, because Hearn's stable for the DAZN at 160 and 168. Like, he's talked about matching him with Callum Smith and matching him with Andrade. Is he fuck? He's not going to put him in there with his own guys. He's going to try and get a fight with Golovkin. He's going to try and get a fight with Canelo and anyone else that's not on DAZN and not on Matchroom before he puts him with his own guys. Which kind of makes sense. It makes sense.
But don't you think that Hearn has always had a bit of a soft spot for Billy Joe Saunders? I think he likes him. I don't know. I think he's always like kind of enjoyed his banter and his fucking craziness in a way.
No, I think he does, but like,
yeah,
like the thing about Billy Joe is, man, he's like a firework, man. Like, he might look really good at sometimes, but he might blow up in your hand as well.
Yeah, he's a madman.
Yeah,
he is an absolute madman. Yeah, what else you got?
Yeah, but he's also the kind of madman that I hate the most, because he's the type who acts like a fucking wild person outside the ring, but in the ring he fights like a fucking bitch.
That's true. That
like it's cool. Like if you're Connor in your prime, right? When you talk all that shit and you actually bring it and you back it up. But when you just fucking run around the ring for 12 rounds, and granted, Billy Joe's a very good fighter. I'm not diminishing his skill set at all, but it's just like like, I appreciate that kind of fighting, but if you talk all that shit outside the ring, I expect you to be an aggressive fighter, kind of, like, subconsciously. And the fact that he doesn't set that mental image in my head is what makes me kind of disapprove his behavior.
Disapprove, yeah. What else you got, Ev?
What else you got, Chin?
The next part is on a sad note. July, we had a very dark July as boxing fans. We had 3 unfortunate deaths, starting off with Sweet Pea Pernell Whitaker on the 14th of July. It's crazy, the guy competed in a sport where the objective of your opponent is to kind of put a hurting on you. And obviously we know that he was a defensive genius, but still, you survive a sport like boxing with all your faculties intact, and then you get run over by a car crossing the road, man. It's kind of crazy, man. 4-weight world champion, regarded as one of the best, if not the best, defensive boxer in our sport, and yeah, crazy. But then, a few days later, we had 2 deaths in the ring. Well, not in the ring, but caused from injuries sustained in the ring. We had Maximum Dadyshev here passed away on July 23rd from a fight he competed in against Subtario Matthias on July 19th. And we also had Hugo Alfredo Santillan, who fought on July 20th and subsequently died on July 25th from injuries sustained. It's sad, and it raises that question every death and every major injury we get in boxing, of like, how can we make it safer? Should it be banned and all that? But I love the sport. I think it's helped more people than it's caused injuries and death for. Like, the amount of people I know, on this who would have just been like bad kids on the street robbing people, who kind of take up the sport. They kind of get some type of organization in their life to start maybe aspirating to become a boxer and stuff. It's definitely helped more people. So the last thing I would like to happen for is to get banned. I definitely think there could be more done in the support of boxers. I know the New York Commission, like, if 2 guys are exchanging a lot, they'll get both doctors on both sides to check out the fighters before they go back for a round. I think more of that type of stuff needs to happen. More aftercare as well. I remember when Mago got injured against, was it Mike Perez? Like, after the fight, like, no one helped him. Like, no one took him to the hospital. I think him as his wife had to, like, flag down a cab outside of MSG and shit. Like, nah, man. Like, if a guy gets badly beaten up in a fight, there needs to be instant medical care, instantly taken to the hospital. Like, you don't mess about with that type of shit. So I definitely think that things are done. I don't know if you guys saw the footage of the Santillan aftermath, but basically the fight went the full distance. His trainer was holding him up. You could tell he was physically, like, something wasn't right. Even the ref was looking at him, like, looking at the doctor like, this, look, you need to come in and help this guy. But broadcasters, they want to get the whole ring announcement done and all that. I wish the ref would have been a bit bold and said, yo, fuck the ring announcement, get the ref in there, get the doctor in there now, let's get this guy some help. And they kind of like fumbled him off into the corner. His head was like half on the ropes. The aftercare was disgusting. Let's just hope that going forward, fights in Argentina and other places. I know the UK have a really strict code to when it comes to aftercare of boxes. They kind of get oxygen in there straight away if a guy's been knocked out and stuff like that. I just hope other countries maybe add to it, start maybe getting more checks done by both doctors in both corners before rounds start again, because I think that definitely will help. But yeah, it was a very sad July, man. Those 3 deaths we had. I don't know if you guys want to add anything. If not, let's move on to previews.
Yeah, I've seen that footage, Cam, and you're right. The dude didn't look right. It's actually very disturbing to watch it afterwards and kind of see, with your own eyes, what happens a very short time before the dude eventually had his life ended. It's super sad, man. But at the end of the day, like, boxing is kind of a poor man's game. And there's a lot of dudes that come up in the ranks, through struggle and through very bad situations, especially outside of, the US and the UK, in like South American countries and things like that. And there's always going to be events put on there with very little medical supervision. You see it in MMA as well, like in more like amateur type of organizations. Sometimes some really bad shit happens. I don't think, though, that you can ever really get rid of that. There's always going to be a risk involved, especially it is a sport about, doing damage and giving each other concussions and just, inflicting hurt upon another human being. That's the way it is with boxing. That's the way it is with MMA. Even like in a sport like American football, you see it, right? You can always make it slightly better, but the risk will always remain. So, yeah, let's move on, man.
Yeah.
Dark shit.
Yeah, man. Condolences to all the family and friends, and rest in peace to all three. All right, Chemo. This Saturday in the UK, don't know if you saw some footage of Lomachenko getting some amazing reception at York Hall's open workout yesterday. I think he got a better reception than Luke Campbell got, man.
He's a bit of a star in the UK, isn't he?
We fucking love him, mate.
They really like him over there, man. I guess Loma has a bit more of that crossover appeal than some might think. I think it's no secret that I'm not a fan of Luke Campbell. I never liked the guy. I think he's very one-dimensional as a fighter.
Bro, I remember shows when like he was fighting in Hull against Tommy Coyle and that, and like me and Ari used to like saying he's not bad, and you're like, fuck you guys, man, he's terrible.
Yeah, me and Hamada at the time we had the perfect analogy for him because he fights like a fencer. That's always what Hamada said. Like he's not. I don't think he's a good pro fighter. And honest to God, I don't know how he's going to win this fight. You look at them next to each other. Campbell does kind of tower over him. But again, he's not the type of guy who uses those physical advantages in the right way. He's not going to come forward against Lomachenko. I highly doubt it. Like I've always said, he's a very passive fighter in the ring. For a guy with that kind of lanky stature, I don't like his jab. It just doesn't appeal to me. I don't think it's that effective. I don't think he puts a lot of authority on his punches. And that kind of stiffness, no pun intended, like I think Loma will just buzzsaw through that, man. I think he's going to be nicely fleet-footed, hopping in and out, firing some crazy combinations. I think the body is going to be open as well. And even though we've seen some really, like flashy knockouts from Loma in recent years, we tend to kind of forget that when he started off, he was also a really good body puncher. He still is, but I see it a little bit less, maybe because we tend to focus more on the power that's kind of coming through on the headshots more recently. But I just don't see how he wins this fight, Cam. I appreciate, again, the hype machine going behind this and creating a cool event in the UK, but this is not a winnable fight for Luke Campbell. What do you think?
I agree. I think I don't want to say he's going to get embarrassed. I think he'll do better than Anthony Crolla, but I think eventually Loma...
That's not saying much, though.
No, that's not saying much, but I think eventually, Loma always gives the first round up, so I wouldn't be surprised if Campbell wins the first round. But after that, Loma will just start, mixing up the angles, slipping in the body shots just under the elbow, and I think he'll probably stop him around the 5th, 6th. I'm looking forward to it though, just because Lomachenko's in the UK and friend of the show that kind of supported us from the beginning, local Mexican, hit me up a couple months ago and he said, if the Campbell Lomachenko's fights in the UK and I came over, would you go? And I said, bro, man, like you're coming from Chicago to London, the least I can do is go from Manchester to London. So yeah, man, I'll be there at the fight.
Are you fucking serious? I didn't know you guys were meeting up.
Yeah, Loco hit me up, so I thought, it's the least I could do, man. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Catch the fight on Saturday. Looking forward to it. Tickets were a bit overpriced, so I just kind of got decent cheap ones. So it's up on the upper tier, but fuck it, man. Because if it was a more competitive fight, maybe I'll go down. But I don't think it's going to be that competitive. So I was happy on the upper tier, to be honest. I've never been to the O2. It's crazy, Chemo. I've been to StubHub. I've been to Vegas T-Mobile twice, and O2 Arena, which is like 4 hours drive from my house. Never been there, so I'm kind of looking forward to go there.
Oh, that's nice, man. But you guys are not sitting next to each other, are you? Did you get tickets together?
Yeah, I got. He asked me, so I got his ticket. So yeah, we'll be next to each other. It's funny. A friend of his, a colleague of his, is coming as well. So he's trying to get a ticket. At the time, he didn't really confirm with him that he was coming. So there'll be him and his friend. But I think his friend's going to be sitting somewhere else.
You know what? I find it pretty crazy though that it's basically going to be in a sold out O2 Arena, because Luke Campbell on his own obviously does not pull that kind of weight, right?
It's a decent undercard though for Hearn at the moment, especially with the type of undercards Hearn's put out.
I think the Matchroom cult in the UK, I think they secretly all kind of know and know about the kind of, myth and legend that is slowly becoming Lomachenko. I think he's more famous than we think. At least maybe you know better. I mean, you live there obviously, but I think I definitely underestimated his appeal a little bit.
I think over here, like, boxing fans know who he is and really respect him. I was surprised it's sold out. I thought maybe it'd get up to like maybe 15,000, 16,000, but to sell it out was pretty impressive, especially like with Campbell. Like, who really knows Campbell? And it's a bit shocking as well. I think that's why you have to pad up the undercard a bit, that it's on pay-per-view, but everything Hearn does now, like, the only thing you're going to get on normal Sky is fucking Next Gen and some ghetto card somewhere like in Newcastle or something. No disrespect to Newcastle, but like, yeah, just a half-ass card that's going to be on normal Sky. Anything half decent is pay-per-view these days, especially with the fact that Hearn's higher quality fighters are very thin and far between now. Like, who has he really got? I wouldn't even say Dillian White's a pay-per-view fighter, and all of his last fights have been pay-per-view. And obviously there's Joshua. Frotch and them are gone. De Gale left him ages ago anyway. So, like, Hearn's high-end stable is very weak.
What are your thoughts, Lim? Because I hear you giggling in the background, you little bitch. He's not going to say shit now. Many actions. Many dramas.
For all the shit that I talk about the UK fans, and I guess it goes both ways, is that I think UK fans are probably the most hardcore fans of boxing, right? So they appreciate the skill level of Lomachenko probably more than any other fan base in the world. So that doesn't really surprise me all that much. But it's crazy that Lomachenko has only 14 fights.
That is pretty crazy.
It's crazy, man. Like, especially you should be the one who's apologizing to Lomachenko, man. You talked so much shit about his career early on. Now the guy's pound for pound.
I did, and rightfully so.
Not really.
Well, I think people got a little bit carried away. I mean, I always said he was a good fighter, but I think people, when he had like 4 fights under his belt, were going full fucking retard. And people tend to go full retard for a really talented guy, so I guess it makes sense. I mean, I've also personally gone full retard for like guys like Pacquiao in the past, but yeah, I just seen a lot more of him now. I have a lot more respect for what he's achieved, and even though as talented as he is, he's also improved a lot, man. I kind of liked that he became a little bit of a puncher as well later on. I thoroughly enjoy that. But yeah, you're right. I did shit on him a lot, so.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should apologize, but I'll at least acknowledge that.
So, Cam, what are you and Loco going to do, man? Are you guys going to go to Nando's? Are you guys going to go to a strip club afterwards? What's on the itinerary?
Yeah, you need to give him the London experience, man.
No, he's traveled to London before. Like, I think Loco likes to travel. He's been quite a few places, but I've got something to do on the Sunday, so I'm just going to drive back straight after, which is, I'm not looking forward to it, to be honest, for a 3.5, 4 hour drive right after a fight at midnight, but, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. Are you going to go to a concert with your wife?
Concert?
Yeah.
The homie, bro.
Nah, man.
Okay.
For
Dude, you,
for some background and that, for the people that are thinking what the hell they're talking about. So I was on the Uber duties for my wife a couple of weeks ago when she went to see some folklore Indian music, and I was waiting outside and Chemo.
Indian, bro. It's Pakistani. What are you talking about?
Is it Pakistani folklore? It's either Pakistani or Indian folklore music. I don't know.
Fuck, do you not know this, man?
I don't pay attention to that shit, bro.
Bro, come on.
Sid, is it Indian or Pakistani folklore, that guy that you went to see?
Is it folklore? Is it Indian classical music?
Indian classical music, Chemo. There you go. She's.
Folklore.
I didn't know. Close the door.
None of you know anything. No, but
This is classic.
My wife's just shitting on me while I'm doing the pod. There we go.
Yeah, you deserve it, motherfucker.
So yeah, that's why they're saying that. But undercard, Chemo.
Dropping some sick rhymes, though, man. I'll tell you that. The dude got bossed. Know what I'm saying?
He's got a wicked mustache and an afro as well. Charlie Edwards versus Julio Cesar Martinez Aguilar. You know, Loco's going to be chanting for the Mexican in that one. If the Mexican wins, man, Loco better watch his back, man. He might get beat up on the way out of the O2. Hughie Fury's fight Alexander Povetkin. That's what I want to talk to you about, Chemo. What do you think of that fight?
I watched, I don't know why I watched this. I'm such a loser. But I watched the IFL interview today with Hughie Fury and Peter Fury and Eddie Hearn. Man, Hughie Fury is one boring motherfucker, isn't he? Jesus Christ. There's nothing in there in terms of personality.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I mean, he makes AJ sound like fucking Conor McGregor. It is really, really abysmal. I never got the whole Hughie Fury thing, man. I never thought he was that impressive. I get that he's got a little bit of talent here and there, but he never really appealed to me, and that back knee is fucking disturbing as well. So I mean, it's a good step up. I'll watch it, but Hughie Fury always seems to be very ugly in fights, man.
Very negative, yeah. He doesn't.
Yeah, very negative, Cam. Exactly, that's the right word. Like, he's just very passive. He doesn't really engage. He kind of conceals everything in a quote unquote slick package when he's not really slick. You know, there's a difference between being slick and still engaging in the fight and just being like very defensive and passive and not making a fight out of it. So I want to see something, man. I want to see him fucking put Povetkin away or do something impressive.
You think he can?
They seem to be. I mean, the thing is, I don't know. I don't know what this guy has in the tank. It's obvious that he has some sort of talent, right? But I've never seen him put it all on the line in a fight. So I honestly don't know. Like, he needs to do more. You cannot expect to win a boxing fight when you just turn it into a fucking ugly mess. And you know, there needs to be more, man. I want to see. You can make guys miss, but you got to make them pay.
Yeah,
I see that from him.
I see this as a close fight, even though Povetkin's up there in age, man. Like, Hughie's not really the biggest puncher. He's not got high output. I think the only thing he's going to be trying to do is just counter Povetkin when he kind of just walks in without a jab and just tries to maybe catch him and get his respect a bit. I can't really see him stopping Povetkin, man. Povetkin got a good chin, man. So he's going to have to try and win on points, but it can get ugly, man. It can kind of be like that. Who you got, the guy that's going forward, throwing punches, maybe landing some are getting blocked. Or you got the guy that's maybe lands clean counter punches, but not that often. So it could be one of those type of fights where one scorecard's completely one direction, one's the other direction, and one guy has it a draw. So let's see. But I am kind of looking forward to that fight. Joshua Buatsi's fighting Ryan Ford for the WBA International Light Heavyweight title. Ford is 16 and 11 knockouts, 4 defeats, none by knockout. He's a Canadian. Never seen him before, to be honest, I don't think. But I always like watching Buatsi fight. And the rest of the card's not too great.
But he needs to step up soon as well, Cam, to something. Like, I don't even know who the fuck this guy is. Like, come on, man. The dude is obviously very talented and very mature as a fighter. Like, I want to see him in with a live opponent.
It's difficult though, because we talked about Yarde for like an hour, right? that he never really stepped up. Because you look at those 4 or 5 guys at the top, they're all big punchers. They're all pretty, apart from Kovalev, they're all pretty young. There's no... do you think Joshua Buatsi needs someone like a Chilemba, that type of guy that's going to kind of test him a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And Chilemba may be a bit too much right now because he is a bit of a spoiler, right? He's not an easy opponent. Even guys like Kovalev struggled a little bit with Chilemba.
Do you think like Solomon Barrera is a bit too far yet as well?
Barrera's too washed.
Too washed? No, I wouldn't say he's too washed for Buatsi.
Solomon Barrera? No.
Did you see Barrera's last fight?
Against Sean
but
Monahan.
fuck it, you need to take those names, right? I mean, if he is a little bit washed, that makes it actually even a better matchup because I would say still Buatsi. I mean, he's only got 11 fights, man. Like, I wouldn't just recklessly put him in there with a Solomon Barrera. He would have to be a little bit over the hill if I'm putting myself in the shoes of a matchmaker / promoter.
What about Buatsi versus Yarde? Can we see that next?
I fucking love that fight.
That's a great fight, but it won't be next.
I fucking love that fight. That's a fight I wanted to see ages ago, man. I was chanting for that fucking fight. I was praying that would fucking get made, but it wouldn't, obviously.
What about Buatsi versus Akoli?
Akoli's cruiserweight.
Can he come down?
Man, he's got nothing, man. He would chop off his fucking legs, man.
And he'd still miss weight.
Yeah, fucking Lawrence Akoli, mate. He's not going to do it. The sauce, innit?
It's the sauce, mate.
Yeah, what else you got, Cam?
Are they going to do the Akoli-Chamberlain rematch?
That was such a terrible fight. You keep going on about that fucking fight.
I know I do. I still remember vividly where I was when I watched the fight.
Yeah, I saw the fight too.
I was in Dublin at some bar, and like everyone was just booing at the fight. It was so funny. Dude, it's like, what the fuck is this? Get this off the TV, mate. We would rather watch darts.
The fuck is this? Eh?
Chamberlain let me down that night, man. That was terrible.
Yeah, me too. I was rooting for Chamberlain, man.
Yep.
Yeah, at least we still got Wadi Camacho though, guys.
Nah, man. Wadi failed as well, bro. He got knocked out by the sauce as well.
What about Luke?
Yeah.
Are you just looking through the rankings, bro?
Luke Watkins, Tomas Loda. He still got names, bro.
What's this fucking guy doing, man?
He's just looking through his box rec, I think.
He's such a bomb, bro. You're so shot.
All right, so same night as Lomachenko, but in the States, we got a fight no one cares about. Erisende Lara versus Ramon Alvarez. Maybe.
Worst fight ever. Why are they doing a face-off? I don't get it.
Terrible, bro.
Boxing is so shot right now, man.
Yeah.
This might be the worst year of boxing of all time. I mean, granted, I can't really say that because I really haven't been watching this year, but like, has there been like 5 good fights on paper this year?
Oh, man. Caleb Plant, maybe.
Well, Caleb is just on a different level. Caleb versus Benavidez is like goat versus goat shit, but Ramon Alvarez versus Lara.
Ramon is terrible. He's like the retarded brother of the Alvarezes, man. What the fuck is he got?
Dude, I think Ramon might get more puss than Canelo.
Really? But he gets more dirty puss, though. He gets like those nasty hooks.
STI puss.
There's still... even like the low-class girls in Guadalajara are like 9s in the UK. So
didn't Alvarez get like knocked out by Rios a couple fights ago?
He did. He's a bum, bro.
Anyway, fuck that fight.
I don't like the fight, and you know how I feel about Lara. That guy's trash.
Moving on. 2 weeks later, we got Devin Haney versus Zod Abdulev. It's WBC lightweight eliminator. I don't really know much about Abdulev, so I ain't got much to add unless you guys will do, but I know you don't. So the next night in Vegas.
Wow, shots fired.
The next night in Vegas, the return of the Gypsy King Tyson Fury versus Otto Wallin. Like we discussed before, fights I don't care about. You know, come back when you're fighting Wilder or Ruiz or Joshua or someone good, man. It's fucking bullshit. Same night, we got Jaime Munguia fighting on Independence Day weekend, taking the flag over from Canelo against Patrick Alate. Since Munguia's got that title, man, like, he's not fought anyone. And in the fights that he's fought, he's not really looked good, apart from maybe the Liam Smith fight, where Smith's really static. When he fought that the Irish dude that was based in Australia, I think, like, most people thought he lost that fight. Munguia just struggles against movers, man. If the guy's not just standing right in front of him, he doesn't have much success.
Yeah, they're just milking them, bro.
Yeah, what other shitty fights we got? Peter Quillen versus Alfredo Angulo, yo. I can't believe it.
Yo, that is insane.
I can't believe Angulo's still fighting, man. That's September 21st in Bakersfield on Fox Sports 1 and Fox Deportes.
I just thought of Ski Mask's impression of Angulo talking about his daughter and shit.
September 27th, Danny Dubois returns against Abaziner Tete. 12 rounds for the vacant Commonwealth title. Don't know much about Tete. Ain't gonna lie.
He's fighting your boy Tete? What the fuck, man?
Different Tete.
How much weight did he gain all of a sudden? Jesus.
The night after, though, September 28th, we have the unification of Errol Spence. I love you, daddy.
Errol Spence
against Sean Porter. Kimo, what are you thinking?
Nice. A good fight for once.
You kick us off then, Lim. What do you think? How do you see it playing out?
I think Errol's going to stop in 8.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah, it's going to be a good fight. It'll be cool at the Staples Center. It won't be in Diarrhea, Saudi Arabia. So I'll go to the fight.
You said the fight too?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go. I think Abe is going to come down, so probably going to go watch that shit together.
Dude.
I hope Ramrod comes too. Then we can make it a trio.
Just be careful on the stairs, man, of the Staples Center, you know what I'm saying?
Why?
Might get a little out of breath, yeah.
Oh, no, dude. Abe's lost a lot of weight, dude. He looks good as fuck.
Yeah, he's in shape right now.
Yeah, dude, Ramrod got super jacked too. So.
Yeah, but he's still a faggot though.
Oh yeah, for sure. But you know how I feel about him.
Yeah,
we're definitely gonna try to score some puss. Sorry, Cam. But I think it's gonna be I mean, would you guys be impressed if Errol stops Porter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be impressed.
Yeah, I think that's the only way that he can kind of impress us, because I was really disappointed by the Mikey fight, because I just felt like Errol just kind of let off the gas pedal, which elite fighters often do against really mismatched opponents. And Errol's like one of those guys. Like, I remember earlier you guys were talking about Anthony Yarde, but can you guys refresh my memory? Who did Errol fight before Kell Brook?
Who did Errol fight before Kell Brook? Wasn't it that one dude? What's his name? Fucking Leonard
Bundu.
Yeah, exactly. The spoiler.
Who did he fight?
Bumdu.
Okay, so I guess that's not a perfect comparison, but for some reason when I thought about Yarde making that drastic step up from whoever he fought before Kovalev, I just felt like, to me, Errol was Anthony Yarde in terms of like probably what Yarde's promoters thought he was prior to the Kovalev fight. And now that he's kind of established, I almost feel like I don't know what you do with his career if that Crawford fight is never going to come into fruition. Like, are you just going to recycle these guys over and over and over again? Like, how is he going to make that jump? Is he going to move up to 154?
I think.
Hang on. Can I just touch base on that little Yarde point there? At least, I mean, I'm not saying they're world beaters, but at least he beat Samuel Vargas, Chris Van Heerden, those kind of guys. At least he has those on his record. Yarde doesn't even have that.
Yeah, and that's kind of that's what I kind of said. That's why I kind of backtracked a little bit, because you're right, those are better opponents. But all I'm saying is that both Errol and Yarde's promoters, prior to their main step-up fight, probably thought very, very highly of each fighter. But all I'm saying is that Spence is obviously a better fighter, and we know that because of hindsight. But my only issue is, now that we know that he's the goods, and we've known that for years now, he doesn't have anything to really show for it. And that's the main issue. It's like, this is what happens when you have two guys who we know are just leaps and bounds better than everyone else. And I'm not including Pacquiao in here just because Pacquiao is just such a legend that at this point it doesn't even matter. I mean, whatever Pacquiao does, I mean, he's already established. But all I'm saying is that if Errol, like, what are you going to do at 147? Because it's like one of those things where, like, we know there's one guy left for you to prove yourself against. But if that fight is always going to be kind of like an unobtainable fight, then what do you do in the meantime?
Question, Lim. Did you watch Terence Crawford on the Joe Rogan Experience?
I certainly did.
What did you think of his statement that he said, Spence needs me, not the other way around? Do you think that's true?
That's complete horseshit.
Yeah.
That's such bullshit. And I think they're probably closer to each other than either of them really thinks they are. I bet if you ask Errol the same question, Errol will say the same thing. But I actually think Errol has more ground to say that from, because Errol has actually fought somebody which has generated 400,000 pay-per-view buys. Now, granted, most of that probably was Mikey Garcia, but at least he did it. He didn't have a pay-per-view fight that only generated 60,000 buys against his Postol. So come on, Terence he's spewing bullshit, man. I think if you ask a casual fan, people will probably know them the same, just because Terence is probably considered a better fighter than Errol. But in terms of popularity, Errol probably is a little bit more popular than Terence, but it's close.
I don't think he has that hometown. Like, I'm not talking overall pay-per-views, but I think the hometown crowd, obviously, TC has that. It's really, I love those fights in Nebraska, man. They're awesome. Yeah, but if you look at after
Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, probably one of the smallest markets in the fucking United States, right? So it doesn't really say shit.
But it's lit though. But like, if let's say he beat Sean Porter, right? Then if you look at those four opponents, right? Like Kell Brook, Lamont Peterson, Mikey Garcia, and Sean Porter. That's a better resume, in my opinion, than what Terence Crawford's got.
The Lamont fight.
It's close.
Didn't Lamont retire right after that fight?
Okay, maybe Lamont is a slight outlier.
Even Mikey too, man. Mikey's a fucking lightweight, bro.
Yeah, but it's still Mikey.
Spence was playing with him, man. Spence wasn't even taking that fight seriously in the second half of that fight, bro. He was just sparring against Mikey. It's like one of those things where you watch some guy who's so overmatched that he's just like playing around with him, man. I fucking hate that.
But my question is, and to both of you, who's got the better win? And it can be a single win. Like who's got the better signature win? It's very close. I don't think but it's probably Kell Brook, even though I hate Brook.
Yeah, you know what though? I was gonna say the same thing, but do you also factor in the way in which either fighter performed against the highest level of opposition? And if you make that argument, you can make the argument that Terence's win over Postol was more impressive, not because of Postol's name, but the way in which he accomplished that victory.
Didn't I pick Postol in that fight? I was going to make an argument, but then I realized I think I did pick Postol.
That doesn't matter. It's just that I think Terence is a better fighter. It's just that Errol's just so much bigger than he is. Like, can Terence maintain like that level of activity, and is he durable enough to last 12 with Errol? Because I don't think he's going to knock him out.
I agree. I think probably. Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say I agree. I think probably Spence's win over Brook is probably better. But having said that, I think Porter had to go down in weight, and he fought a better Broner back then, and we know that Broner is just getting worse and worse, but that Broner win was pretty good. I think most people are kind of favouring Broner to beat Porter, and Porter had to go down and weight to that weird catch weight, which Broner missed himself, and that was a pretty good win.
What are you talking about, bro?
Talking about wins. I thought Porter's win over Broner a couple of years ago was a decent win.
We're talking about Terence versus Spence, bro.
Why are you talking about Terence versus Spence?
Hey, Cam just did a huge brain fart. We've been talking about that fucking matchup for the last 10 minutes.
I thought you were talking about who had the better win between Porter and... sorry, my bad then.
We were talking about, in general, who had the better win, but... I mean...
Dude, I didn't even know that. I was doing a Russell Westbrook impersonation right there. I don't know if you seen that interview. He's like, bruh,
What are you talking about, bro?
Now, you know why, though? Because when you guys were talking, I was trying to get a guest on the show, Chemo, and...
Oh, my gosh, shoot.
A blast from the past.
Spencer Fearon?
Ari Gold Boss. What's happening, Ari?
You hear me?
Holy shit!
Hello?
Hey, what's up? What's your name?
Lions in the camp.
Kittens in the camp.
You're a newbie.
Can you hear me or not?
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you, blood. Go on, fam.
No, don't. What's up, guys?
Talk a bit, man. We're talking about...
Is that mic good? Because I'm using my gaming headset.
No, it's fine, bro.
What you pay, bruv? Call of Duty?
FIFA, man. FIFA.
Apex.
Apex Legends?
Apex.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
So, Ari, man.
What's up, Bobby?
What you say?
Ari.
I can't hear you. Yep.
Ari, at the moment, we're talking about Spence
Yeah, I
versus...
was listening.
Yes,
I'd say Brook is the best win.
Okay. And how do you...
Definitely Brook and Garcia, even though Garcia was he was outmatched with the weight. But you know what Garcia's done? He took his O. You know, so I think definitely Spence got a better resume.
How do you see the fight of Spence versus Porter playing out?
You mean Spence Porter?
Yeah, that's the fight that's coming
Spence
up.
Gonna win. Porter doesn't win the big fights. We know this. Porter's just going to do what he always does, rush in like a running back, and Spence is going to eat him up on the inside. He's going to dig his body, and he's going to knock him out.
You say that though, but
not sure about knockouts. Porter doesn't usually get knocked out. Porter's never been knocked out, right? But I think Spence will bully him. You know what? They're similar size. They're both could be like middleweights. But Porter hasn't got the skills. Spence is the more well-rounded. He's got a great inside game. Better, you know what I mean? He kills the body. So I'll definitely go with Spence.
You say that though, like he always does what he always do and like bull rush him and linebacker and stuff. But I don't know. Like I've said it in previous shows that he's got this weird style at the moment where he tries to box on that from the outside. He did it against Ugas. He did it against Garcia at times, and I'm not sure which Porter's going to show up against Spence, man. It's going to be interesting to see. If he tries to box it from the outside, that's going to be weird. I think the bull rushing technique will probably work, but then again, it might, benefit Spence where he can kind of work the body on the inside. So it's interesting.
I think that's the plan because he was talking about headbutts and making him bleed and elbows, and you're sounding a bit desperate when you're saying all that. It's like he knows he's outmatched. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk. I guess you guys already spoke about it, but I want to quickly talk about Yarde.
Yeah, man. Go ahead.
Go on, mate. Go on.
Kimo, stop, man, please. He did he did well. You know what I mean? He ain't fought no one even close to that level. You know what I mean? Then he had him out in round 8. Just unfortunately, he's got an inexperienced team. I've seen video now where Tunde told him to empty the tank. Literally told him empty the tank, and he did what his coach told him to do, and he was done after that.
What round was that?
Round 8.
Okay.
After round 7, Tunde told him empty the tank.
Maybe he was saying lions in the camp, and he misheard him.
And they were saying, and after time it was just lions in the camp. And literally, the fight's going on. If you listen on BT, and you can just hear random lions in the camp, randomly for 2 minutes.
Lions in the camp, empty the tank.
That's all they went there to say.
Shit, maybe you misheard him, man, and he just fucked up the whole plan.
I think it's one of them things where someone's brought you along. Unfortunately, I don't think you'll leave him because he's loyal, and obviously he must have thinks he's got his career because of Tunde. But really, and truly, he should Tunde because you know what I mean. I don't believe that no sparring stuff because I've seen footage that he does do sparring. But Tunde, you know what I mean, he's not good enough, unfortunately, and we got shown in that fight where the inexperience of the corner. Apparently, Tunde doesn't believe in coaching during a fight. He thinks that the fight's already done. You just take the exam. So he thinks you do vision and then you take the exam. You basically whatever happens in the fight happens. There's nothing. Say if something's going on, you tell him to do something. He doesn't think that you should tell him during the fight. That's ridiculous.
This guy's a fucking retard, man.
Yo, Ari, do you think this is a fight that Yarde can come back from and still kind of do something in the light heavyweight division?
Definitely. It was just inexperience, and you can see he was just completely done. Like, he got knocked out by a jab. And, you know what I mean? Even though I knew people would laugh about it, the people who, the casuals, but we will see it was pure exhaustion. It really knocked him out. Yeah, and I said after round 10 they should have pulled him out because he was just getting beat up, and you got to save him for another day. He wasn't going to come back and win. Again, just the corner showed inexperience. They should have pulled him out after round 10 when he was getting battered.
Yeah.
And they would have saved him from that knockout, you know?
Yeah. Ari, another fight that I want your opinion on. I know we tried to get you on after the Joshua Ruiz fight, and we just couldn't get you on just because of timings didn't work out. But what did you think of Joshua versus Ruiz?
I don't know. I'm a casual nowadays, to be honest with you guys. But I didn't even see the fight live. I was out. I was actually in the McDonald's at 4 a.m. when my phone started blowing up. So I just thought it was funny. But I think Joshua will win the rematch. He looks like he's, you know, man, I think before the fight he kind of like got the hype to his head. He was messing around in New York, you know, he was sightseeing. But this time it looks like it's the other way around. It looks like Andy Ruiz has gone into his head a bit.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to come in even half as fit. And he keeps saying the fight's not going to happen in Saudi Arabia, but apparently it is going to happen. So I think Joshua will win this time. He looks like he's sorted out. He sees how fickle some fans are. He's lost. Not like, I mean, half his fan base is laughing at him. He's turned into Femi again, if you know what I mean.
The street dude.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the streets. I don't know about the streets in Watford, but yeah.
But you say you become a casual, man. You should be ashamed, man. You know, AJ,
I still watch the fight.
AJ, the pride of the UK.
Like I used to, you know?
AJ, the pride of the UK, is fighting in MSG, and you're in McDonald's at 4 o'clock in the morning, bro.
Yeah, I was on a night out, mate.
I'll let you off. Any other fights you want to talk about?
Don't give a shit about Loma Campbell. It's just literally just a money fight for Eddie Hearn to make money on pay-per-view.
So
I don't know how they sold out. I remember I was listening. I don't know. I've been listening for a while, guys. I don't know if you know, but I don't know how they, like you said, the impression sold out. I don't think they really sold out. I think it's one of them StubHub kind of sellouts.
Yeah, third market.
No way did they sell out the whole of O2. That's a 20,000 seater.
Yeah,
there's no way that's full up. Maybe I'm just a hater, but we all know what Loma's going to do. Campbell's good and everything. He might have the size of one, he might have the reach, but other than trying to keep him behind on that jab, he hasn't really got a chance. And what else is there? Povetkin. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, go ahead. Fury Povetkin.
Again, I mean, I don't know. It just depends how Fury. You know what Fury's going to do. He's going to fight with the back foot. Going to be boring. Povetkin's going to be going forward. Povetkin must already knock him out. Yeah.
Okay, can I ask you a question? You said you're kind of a casual these days. Like, what fights get your interest? If there was a fight getting made, like, what do you think? Okay, I'm staying home for that. I'm going to stay up until 4 o'clock, or I'll stay up and watch it on 11 o'clock on Sky.
AJ rematch, obviously, I'm going to try and watch it.
What about Canelo Kovalev?
I don't know if I watch Spence Porter live. Again, depends. Who else is there? I watched the Kovalev. That's a thing. I've got to say. Sorry, Len. I don't really give a shit about Canelo. Unless he's fighting someone credible. I don't care about Rocky Fielding fights. But what was I going to say? I've got to say, BT have been doing a good job with boxing. They plugged, you know what I mean? They really plugged that Kovalev fight really well. I saw a lot of stuff on YouTube. I made sure I was at home to watch that fight. I got into the fight. You know, you should see me in that round 8. I was jumping up and down in my living room. I thought he really had him. So I've got to commend BT. I think they've surpassed Sky in terms of production. Definitely.
I don't know. You're reaching there, I think, bro. Like,
well, I could be reaching, but I don't. And I think it's ridiculous who Fury's fighting again. Like, Fury's a joke, man. Like, all this lineal champion bullshit. It's like you're fighting. Like, I don't even know who this guy is. Like, all right, we gave you that one warm-up fight, but you've got no excuse for this one. Yeah. And again, if Joshua fought someone half as bad as this, he'd be getting killed.
Yeah, no, I agree, bro. Another fight we got coming up. Probably, hopefully, do a post show after this. No one is. We'll do it a month later because we're slacking these days. But October 5th, we got Gennady Golovkin versus Sergey Derevchenko. Pretty good fight. Kimo, let's start with you first. How do you see it playing out?
I think it's a very winnable fight for Golovkin. I think people are kind of excited about it because it might turn out to be, a bit of an action-packed firefight. But at the end of the day, I've never seen anything really from. I keep forgetting how to pronounce this guy's fucking name, but
just say Sergey. Sergey.
Yeah, and I've never seen anything from Sergey that really tells me that this is an elite fighter. Whenever he started stepping up a bit, and I know, our boy KH was always hyping him up, I wasn't really that impressed, man. I didn't really see a guy who could hang at like the top 5, top 10 kind of level. And even though Golovkin has aged quite a bit, I still think he should beat him on clear fundamentals. Just stick the jab in his face and go to work. So I don't know if he's going to stop him at this point. I think that kind of furious type of Golovkin power is, and those vicious combinations to the body are a bit gone. I think he's become a bit more of a boxer puncher, and maybe it goes to decision. What do you think?
Sergey, I've seen him in some fights where he's looked really good. He's got very good head and upper body movement, but he's very static. His feet are a bit heavy, man, and that's ideal for Golovkin, I think. And Golovkin did implement a bit more body work against rolls. I know, take that with a pinch of salt.
It's rolls, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Take it with a pinch of salt. It's rolls. But that's something that we've yelled about for the last couple of years that left his game, man. The body work, and I think he would have a lot more success against Canelo if he did that, which he didn't. But I've got Golovkin, maybe stoppage, and then let's see what happens with Golovkin, man. I don't think Canelo really wants to fight him again, whether it's giving him a paycheck or he just wants to go in other direction. I'm not sure, but Golovkin, I know he signed a 6-year deal. Now this Derevyanchenko fight will be the second fight. I think most likely it'll probably be Billy Joe after that, I think, and which is a difficult fight for Golovkin just because of just Billy Joe's movement. But Ari, what do you think?
I don't know too much about. I'm not even going to try to say his name. Derevyanchenko.
Sergey Derevyanchenko. Yeah.
Derevyanchenko. Yeah. I don't know too much about him. I didn't really see much of the Jacobs fight. I find it funny how they just took. Well, no, it's Canelo's fault. He doesn't want to fight the mandatory. That's his problem. He wants to keep going up and down in weights like a yo-yo. Then take the belts off him. I agree with it. So, and we should have got the trilogy of the Triple G fight, in my opinion. But yeah, I think I don't know too much, but I'm just going to go off my weight. I'll just say Golovkin should win if he's got anything left in him. He hasn't looked like the same recently since the last two Canelo fights. But Golovkin should win, I say. And then, yeah, like you said, hopefully Billy Joe fight. I'm surprised he left Warren, but it had to be done. Like Hearn the zone basically run the middleweight division now. So he has to get in there with them.
Yeah. Lim, what do you think?
I've never seen Derevyanchenko fight, unfortunately.
Watch the Jacobs fight, no?
Just highlights.
Fair enough, bro. Ari, Shams 1000 in the chat wanted to ask you a question about what you thought about the Dillian White fight and the situation after it.
Yeah, again, I didn't see the fight. I still haven't seen it live. I've seen a little bit highlights, sort of obviously the knockdown and some of the best rounds. But yeah, it's shocking, really. Like, you would think it would be Varda that would catch him, not the UCAD. And then UCAD have this thing where when they catch people, even though someone leaks it inside there, just like they did with Fury, they have some way of that they don't like to announce it until everything's decided because they don't like to be sued. So they, again, if they're closed lips, but I don't know, if they found something that is in the system, that's why I was shocked. But you'd think Dillian White of all people would never do that. He talks, the way he talks about cheaters and the way he talked about previous people before, and the way he talks about Joshua, for example, you would think he definitely doesn't do anything. And I would believe him. I think he most probably would pass a lie detector test, but he definitely took something. If it's not contamination, it's in the system. But it's just weird that he passed the VAR after and before. So it just shows you, like, if the people are cheating, they could easily cheat and they can get around these tests. And I guess it's just like where it's in your system for maybe like a day or two and it's out of your system, so you just have to try and avoid the drug testers. But I don't know, it's just weird. I find it weird, and I'm hoping it resolves soon because obviously I wanted to see him fight Wilder. Wilder's been ducking him for nearly 3 years. So hopefully, if he is cleared and they find that it was some kind of, I don't know, again, it's in your system, but
some type of
I would want to see him fight Wilder, And Wilder, it's funny how Wilder was so happy. It just shows how relieved Wilder was. He didn't have to fight him, the way he was acting afterwards.
I don't know why though, because I think Wilder beats.
I don't know. I think White I don't want to go into it. I think Wilder's a bitch, to be honest with you. Like, the way he's acting
to this day.
Like, you got beat for 12 rounds. Okay, you got the knockdown, and then you're crying about the ref should have counted him out. No, he got up. Like, I just don't like Wilder. I just can't stand him, to be honest with you.
Don't blame you. But Ari, seeing as though you're on, man, anything else you want to talk about? What do you think about the state of boxing at the moment? Obviously, like, you've kind of stepped away from a bit and, like, you just watch the bigger fights. But is that just because of, like, your life at the moment, or do you think boxing is pretty weak at the moment?
It's life. No, it's life, but at the same time, if a fight is good, I'm going to stay in. Like, you know what I mean? Like, whether Joshua fights on the whole of England, like, watch it, you know what I mean? Like, even casuals, you don't know fuck all, you know what I mean? All the women love to watch him, you know? But it's a bit of life, and there's a bit of that it's just not great no more. And then, obviously, you see Sky Sports getting worse and worse. Like, the Zone get everything for free, and then every time it's half good, we get pay-per-view, you know? I wish we had a DAZN over here. £10, that's nothing. What's £15 a month compared to a fucking pay-per-view for one fight? It was £20. You know what I mean? Anytime it's half decent. Like, what the fuck is Loma over Campbell doing on pay-per-view?
That's what I find hilarious, Ari. Even though, like, obviously the price difference is crazy, but you know, DAZN and Eddie and Buffer and Canelo, they're all talking about, you know, pay-per-view is dead. Yeah, it's dead over there, yeah, but we still got to pay for average fights on pay-per-view.
Exactly. But sorry, what was you said? What did you say again? I was distracted by the chat. What else do I want to talk about?
Yeah, any other fights and stuff. I know the chat's distracting you because you're talking about football.
I can't think of any other fights, to be honest with you. But yeah, the state of the game's just poor. That's what I was going to say. It was ridiculous after the Fury Wilder fight. You'd think we're going to get the round, you know what I mean, the rematch straight away, and then Fury goes and signs with ESPN. All this fucking TV shit's bullshit. Like, we thought it was bad with Top Rank and Heyman. Now it's fucking freeways with DAZN, ESPN, and then Fox with Heyman. You know, look, we can't even get Crawford Spence. That's the fight everyone we know we should have. We can't get it. We can't get Fury Wilder again. I doubt it'll happen, because if it has to happen, it's going to happen at ESPN, and we know Heyman ain't going to let that happen. So even though Wilder keeps saying, oh, I'm going to fight him, you're not going to fight him. You know, it's just ridiculous, all these TV contracts and everything. It's good for your pocket, but it's not good for us, you know, and it's just, unfortunately, just makes the game worse.
It's just a common theme, though, you know, like we had Showtime versus HBO, and then Heyman came in, and Aram, and they're not working together, and then it just seems that every time there's some kind of shining light that we might get big fights again, someone signs with someone else, and it just goes back to square one, man. It's only boxing that this shit happens.
Like, they're not going to do this because, again, it's been happening for over decades, but why can't they just win just do a fucking purse bid? Whoever pays the most money for the fight gets the fight, and that's it. You know, ESPN and DAZN have millions, you know what I mean? They got billions, not let alone millions. They can make these fights and just like say, look, if whoever wants it and whoever puts up the most money gets the fight.
It's dangerous though, that, because then you start overpaying guys for fights, and once you've got
there's nothing wrong with that. Boxers deserve to get paid. These people retire, so half of them retire with no pension or nothing, and are just punch drunk and, you know, living off benefits.
No, that's fair, but what happens is then if you're fighting a good person for $5 million. Then
I get what you mean. Yeah, I get what you mean.
Your new limit is $5 million now. You're not going to take anything less than that. You know what I mean?
Did you hear that? I heard a rumor that Crawford, he's got a contract with Top Rank that he gets minimum $5 million per fight. Did you hear about that?
I didn't hear about that. It wouldn't surprise me though, because Bob would probably want to keep him at Top Rank, you know, as long as he can. So I won't be surprised. Have you seen how Crawford's kind of changed as well? Like, back in the day, he was kind of like a hood dude. Now he's like in Versace shirts and all that. Like,
he's got a bit of swag, but he's still hood.
Nah, I could see him like dumping his missus and that, you know, and like getting a model and that.
Bro, what the fuck are you talking about, man? He still lives in Omaha, Nebraska, man.
Nah, he's gonna be dumping her. He's moving to LA.
He's got like 5 kids. They got like 5 kids.
Yeah, he'll send them money, man. Don't worry about it.
But she most probably knows he's got side pieces. You know, come on, man. When you're like that, unfortunately, this is very controversial, especially in this current climate. But I mean, just let the man have a couple side pieces, man. He's bringing home the money. You know what I mean? He's looking after you and the kids. Let him do his thing when he's on the road, man. You know what I mean?
It's good to have you on, though, Ari, man.
Yeah, it's good to be on, man. I'm getting back into the flow of things, you know. But I know we're finishing off soon. I was late. I had work, so.
It's all good. Chemo, Lim, anything else you guys want to talk about? I'm done with the previews, so.
Yeah, let's just talk about like Ari was mentioning, the current climate of side pieces and relationships. Like, how many side pieces is sufficient? You know, like, is 2? Is that too many?
2's enough.
Okay.
2's enough.
Yeah, 3 is just gonna get messy.
Or you can do it like Tiger Woods. You know what I mean? Have one in every state, but that's Tiger Woods.
Man, it's tough nowadays, Cam. I'm telling you, with all of these social media sites and these apps and whatnot. Like, you don't even know when you're boyfriend, girlfriend anymore. So you don't even know what cheating really means in this day and age.
Yeah. Can I ask you guys one question, actually, especially you, Cam, because it's British fight. But how shocked are you? Well, I'm guessing maybe you already knew, but aren't you surprised at the decline of Josh Kelly? Because I've just seen Shams writing in the chat about Josh Kelly. I was so surprised, like the way again, maybe he just got too hyped with his slick moves, but you know what I mean? Like, throw punches, man. Keep fucking moving about like a donut. You look like Broner. And his last fight, he should have lost. You know, that card as a whole, when you think about it, is really funny. And I still haven't seen the Katie Taylor fight, but I heard she lost. Joshua lost. Kelly should have lost. The only person who looked good out of that whole card is Buatsi, and he was fighting a part-time fighter.
Wait, Katie Taylor lost?
Come on, bro.
She did.
Callum Smith knocked out.
Oh yeah, Callum Smith looked good.
Endam. What are you saying, Kimo?
All right, I don't think I've lost a fight. I did a tremendous performance.
Who's that? Josh Kelly.
No, that was his Katie Taylor, bro. Come on.
You're a fucking bum, bro. Seriously.
That was not Irish at all, man. That's fucking terrible.
Nah, that's on point, man. That's like.
Fucking get back. Kick this guy off the show right now.
Is that how she sounds?
Yeah, have you not heard
it? You have not heard an interview of her.
I'm a casual.
Get the fuck out of here, man.
But yeah, I heard she lost.
And by the way, your boy is fucking guilty, eh? Your Caribbean Dillian White.
You think so?
Yeah, he's fucking guilty, man. It's the second time he pissed hard. He's got a history of...
No. Let's not do that. The first time was jacked. Do you know what jacked is? That's like basically taking creatine.
Man, Jack 3D has a bunch of shit in it.
Yeah, but you do know the history of that. They literally banned it like...
I know, mate. I know. It's banned in Netherlands as well.
It's a pre-workout, and you got 2-year ban for it. That was ridiculous.
Yeah,
but then,
blood, it could be a masking agent, isn't it?
Come off. I'm not even going to do it.
Come on, baby.
No,
you want to Top Boy or something, but what's up with these accents?
Man, did you just meet me for the first time today? Like, I always talk fucking bullshit.
I forgot you're a bum.
You forgot I'm a bum, mate. Go pay your fucking Apex, you little wanker. Go on.
Ari, what were you talking about Josh Kelly anyway? Against Ray Robinson, yeah, like the tactics were weird, man. Like, just like letting the guy tee up on you and you're not doing anything. But like, I still think he beats Conor Ben with one hand tied behind his back.
Yeah, it's funny that Conor Ben was calling him out before that. It's like Conor Ben saw it coming. Well, yeah, Conor Ben, obviously, we know Conor Ben is living off his surname. He's not good. But I just don't understand why Adam Booth hasn't snapped it out of him yet. Like, come on, man, fix him up. Like, give him a slap. Like, what's he doing? He's messing around. I mean, 1 second he's looking like, you know what I mean, he's got even American fighters saying how good he looks, and then you're fighting a journeyman and you're getting beaten up.
Yeah.
Yeah, just saying White's going to get 4 years. I don't believe that shit.
I doubt it. Well, something's going on. And the way Hearn keeps talking, I think they feel confident that I think they're going down the contamination route, most probably. But again, it's so weird.
Everybody does, mate. That's what everybody does.
Yeah, well, we know Canelo wasn't. We know what Canelo was doing. That clenbuterol, everyone knows he need that shit. Like 50 Cent said, he done that shit.
It's tostados, mate. Tostados.
Ari, Shams is asking, did you see Dubois versus
Gorman?
Gorman?
Dubois is a beast. I was shocked. I thought the fight was close. And it'll be funny. If Dubois was with Hearn, and of course Hearn will never sign him unless Joshua just retired tomorrow or next year, Dubois would be so much hyped in England. Like, Dubois is basically doing everything that Joshua did when he was young. You know, Dubois is a beast. Look at what kind of fighter did Joshua be at that stage of his career.
Did he win a medal? I don't think so.
Well, come on, let's not get into the middle, because I've always said Joshua lost that Cuban fight. So let's not. Everyone knows Joshua. Imagine if Joshua did lose. Imagine if he lost that first fight like he did. Would Joshua be champion right now? Think about it. You never know. Like, just different timeline of world.
What do you think of Dubois' defense?
I think Dubois is good. Like, you know, I'm not sure about his defense, but he looks like he has a chin. He's got a chin. He's just a bit. Unfortunately, he's a bit slow, but of course he's a heavyweight. But he's built like a fucking tank. He's got his power is crazy, and he's committed. And that's one thing about him. And I don't think he'll ever go to his head. He's just a pure gym, like he's a gym rat. You know what I mean? He's always in the gym. He doesn't seem like he has any social life. Of course, his charisma is terrible, unfortunately. But in terms of, he's as good as they come.
Yo, have you
He
seen?
does have a little bit of a Scott Quigg syndrome, doesn't he? Where like his mum's his best mate, doesn't really do anything.
Scott Quigg, but yeah, it's unfortunately.
Have you seen when he gets interviewed by like a hot female? He gets like proper shy. He doesn't give eye contact. He kind of looks at the floor and shit, man. Like I don't think he's ever had a girlfriend or anything, you know.
He's definitely done his thing, I think, man.
Yeah, but are you talking about that MILF from BT, mate? Because you would do the same fucking thing. She is a dime piece, man. What's her name? Oh my lord. What is that? The first time I saw her, I was like, Jesus Christ, how can anybody fucking conduct an interview with her? What is her name?
What's her name?
Man, not like that flat ass from Sky. What's her name? Fucking hell. Olivia,
why
whatever.
Why is Sky bringing out women? You know what? I'm not even going to get into it. It's just it's like they forcing that Sky presenter onto us. That I can't remember her name, but you know what I'm talking about.
Anna Woolhouse.
I don't know nothing about boxing. Like,
yeah, that little flat ass.
Seriously, can they stop having? I'm going to go into a rant. Sorry, it's one of the old school Ari rants.
Can
they stop fucking making Darren Barker commentate? He does fuck all. I like Dan Barker. You guys know I was a Dan Barker fan. But literally, ever since he retired, I can't stand him. The guy basically went to Sturm to get £1 million with a broken back. Ever since then, obviously, he's one of Hearn's best buddies. So Hearn hooks him up with a Sky job, gets him commentating, and he's fucking shit.
Yeah, he's terrible.
Okay. The name of this lady is Caroline Pierce. Oh my God, Cam. This woman is something else. But I'm not sure if she does boxing, actually. She does more like UFC on BT.
Yeah, she is fit as
fuck, mate. She's like 45 years old. She is
she really?
Another quick rant. BT have no right to be giving us pay-per-views when we spend like £15, £20 for 2 fucking channels.
Caroline Pierce is 37 years old, mate.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, but she still looks good, though.
She
says here she's 56. I think that's another Caroline Pierce. Oh, that's a golfer.
It came up with a porn star.
I love the fit-ass chicks, man. She's got a six-pack.
She's pretty in shape, man. It's fucking crazy. It's just like,
not pretty in shape. She is in shape.
Yeah, I saw the fight, too.
Yeah, I saw the fight.
Anna Woolhouse is fucking trash. Darren Barker. He's just a geezer in the pub, isn't he? He's not a professional commentator, man.
And then he was getting all the plaudits for apparently making Dave Allen fit, and then it's just funny how that David Price fight. It's good to see Allen get humbled. You're starting to get too big for his fucking.
I can't believe he quit though, man. That was a L.
Could about 2 fights from Joshua and all that shit, and then he's there in the corner quitting.
Mate, how fucking slick was Pricey though in that fight? It was like Pricey.
And he got by that fucking jab, you know. Come on. I mean, you're a fucking amateur. You're a good amateur for a reason. Use your jab, like, you know what I mean. And you know what I mean, like, just you know. Sorry. Just one thing about Kovalev. Going back, I didn't really break down the fight. I did like how for the first like few rounds it was just jab, and then he started bringing that right hand in. I don't know if you guys realized it. It was like he was getting Yarde used to that left hand, and then when he started bringing the right hand in, that's when he started beating up Yarde. But yeah, to go back to Pierce, Price. Yeah,
think about Caroline Pierce still, huh?
Yeah,
there you go. Fucking milfy, mate.
I just think it was good that Price humbled Allen because he was getting too big of his boots. I don't care if you got a big fan base because you're a cool guy on Twitter and you respond to people's tweets. It's about boxing and you haven't got skills.
What's next for Pricey though?
I'm hoping he takes the Dubois fight. I was calling him out. Well, you know he won't do that. Hearn basically looks after Price. He won't let we know what happened if he will kill him. You know what I mean?
I don't think he's got. I don't think he's signed to Matchroom though. I think he's trying to like fight by fight. I don't think he's signed to Matchroom. From what I read last time, I think he's like fight by fight. So he might be able to go over to B2.
Hopefully Warren offers him enough money for his retirement fight because that will be his retirement fight.
Yeah, Dubois ices him.
Just like who was that guy that beat him? Who was full of steroids? That German guy. Or was he Turkish? I can't remember. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know you're talking about. I can't remember.
It'll be a knockout like that.
I think Pricey Dubois is a close fight.
The way Dubois knocked out Gorman, I'm sure Gorman's considering not even boxing anymore.
Yeah, but that's Gorman, mate. I don't know. Pricey's got size and reach.
And no chin.
Erkan Tepa was the guy that iced...
Tepa, he hasn't been back since because he's fucking full of steroids. He's probably like half the size now.
No, he has 4. I think he got banned and then came back after a ban.
That's a cheater right there. Someone like that. You know what I mean? Someone like that. Someone like what's that bum called again? The one who's supposed to fight Joshua.
Miller.
He was full of everything. Fucking EPO.
He put like 3 steroids in his fucking ass.
Taking EPO. Fucking nutter. Did he, like, you know what's funny? You see that, yeah? Did he not think they were doing drug testing? Did he think drug testing some fake thing or something? Did he go talk to Lance Armstrong or something? Like, EPO, testosterone, and steroids. Like, fucking hell. And then, you know what made me even, you annoyed me after that as well? Shannon Briggs, make it out like it was nothing. It just shows the fucking cheat as well.
Shannon is definitely on roids. That guy is like 60 years old. And he looks like the fucking Hulk. Oh, God.
They're from the same gym. He must have gave it to him.
Shannon's crazy, though, because like, every 2 years, he's like, I'm making a comeback, and it's like, bro, man, like, you're just 2 years older, man. Like, you're hitting 50 now. What are you going to do in the boxing game now?
Come back stronger. I don't know, man.
And seriously, I know he's not your boy anymore, Cam, but seriously, can't just fucking retire. Like, I don't know how he hustled that Saudi Arabia fight. 7 million to be up a fucking featherweight bum.
Crazy, innit? No, he's just milking the system.
Literally, it just shows how he is as well, because, sorry, but you should have donated half of that, because that was a fucking cash grab.
Terrible.
He's just smart businessman.
Having another child. Like, how are you still with that? You know what, let's not even get into it. But, yeah, like, seriously, how the hell did Khan hustle that? So you must imagine the amount of money Joshua must be making from this fight. If he gave Khan 7 million.
It's crazy, man.
Hey, man. He's preparing for that divorce. It's coming up.
I don't think they're getting divorced. They're having another child, apparently.
Yeah, but that could be AJ's, man. What if a little black dude comes out? That would be fucking epic.
The one thing about Carl, she did what Hatton did to Whittaker. Not Whittaker. So what's his name again? Yeah, Whittaker. But even worse, like Brooks' career is basically done all because of chasing Khan. You tried to copy Khan and fight Triple G, and you got your eye punched out of your head. Then you lose your belt because you're up your eye again to Spence. And then what have you done since? You know what I mean? I heard he's coming back, but his career's done, man.
What do you think he's gonna do next? Like, who could you see him fighting?
Well, like one fight was a beast division. Like, sorry, I got to keep talking, but can I just tell you guys a quick story? I was in the hotel with a girl when Hurd and Williams were fighting. I don't know. I was on my phone and the story I was on. I was shocked. So it was like 2 a.m. I don't know if you guys saw it. It was on ITV.
Yeah.
So like literally, I started watching it in the hotel. There was a sofa there. You see the girl sleeping. I just went on the sofa and started watching it. I was so entertained. I think I woke her up when Williams started beating him up. Cause I love, I don't know if you guys know, I'm a big J-Rock fan. I just found it was funny because I was in a hotel literally, and then the J-Rock fight was on ITV4, I think it was. Yeah, it was good. That's one thing good about Heyman. They put it on ITV, you know, even though the fucking Pacquiao fight was on pay-per-view.
Yeah, man. Like, but they don't put everything on. They kind of pick and choose what they're gonna put on. They don't put all the PBC stuff on.
But I do have to commend Pacquiao. You guys know I'm not a Pacquiao fan, but I do have to commend him for that Thurman win. I did think Thurman would knock him out at least. I mean, Thurman's done. Unfortunately, Thurman, he's just waste. I kind of see he's a waste of talent now. Like, the guy got married. He's got all spiritual. Apparently, he was out there playing blackjack and roulette till 3 a.m. instead of bloody being in bed preparing for a fight. Like, what's wrong with this guy?
His heart's just not in the game anymore, I think.
Yeah, ever since that injury, he's gone. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, and now I fully say that Spence would destroy him, and we all know he's stuck in Spence because before you guys know I was a Thurman fan. But nah, man, how are you not beating a 40? How old he is, Pacquiao? I don't care. I don't care if there's no VADA.
Did you guys see any of the build-up shows when like behind the scenes and stuff?
Yeah, Thurman was chatting shit the whole time. Pacquiao was just sitting there, just smiling.
No. They're like when they just like follow him around camp and stuff.
Oh no, what was he doing?
You know, Thurman's gone Hollywood with him when he's driving the BM7 series, man. Because he used to drive like a Toyota Prius and shit.
He's got 7 series. What do you have, like an X6 or something?
No, 7 series, like a 760.
7 series.
Yeah.
That car's big, man.
That's
too long.
They come in diesel models too, Cam.
Give me an X6.
What did you say, Lim?
It's either that or Tesla.
What did you say, Lim?
Cam Cam would never drive that shit because he'd actually have to use like a parking camera or some automatic parking.
Comes in a diesel model too here in the States.
Oh my god, they sell diesels in the States. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
You have to we still got diesel over here.
Yeah, but they're not that widely sold in the States just because petrol's so cheap over there.
Oh yeah.
Think about the environment, bro.
They steal it from rock and
it's super expensive right now.
Bro, your gas is nothing compared to our prices, mate. So you
yeah,
just chill.
Our gas is terrible right now. Gas is not petrol. Like their gallons are most of the same price as our liters.
Exactly.
Alright, just come to my neck of the woods.
Fucking pennies where you live, Chemo.
Yeah, fucking nothing, mate.
Free.
Just get a Tesla, Ari.
A fucking Tesla, like 6 figures.
That's only for the rich kids, Lim.
Yeah, fine.
One
of my neighbors, it's got the big one, like the cheap one.
Do you guys get credits for buying Teslas out there?
I don't think so.
Reimbursements by the government? No.
Maybe you don't have to pay road tax. That's all it is.
No, I think you do get a government grant towards it, like $3,500 or something.
Really?
Oh. In pounds or dollars?
Pounds.
So that's like $4,700.
Dara.
Hey Cam, I hope you're planning to leave the country like I am. Like Brexit, we're fucked.
Where the fuck are you going?
Grenada, mate.
Where?
Grenada.
Grenada.
Yeah, that's where my parents from.
Yeah, but
that's wild, mate.
Caribbean island near Trinidad.
They don't want you back though, man.
Man, you get eaten alive over there.
I got my grandparents' house is over there. They're empty.
What's the main language they speak in Grenada, Ari?
English.
Excuse my. Well, there you go. Excuse my.
Just like Trinidad, just like most Caribbean countries, it was the British Empire, Commonwealth country.
That's dope, man. You should go back there.
I go every year.
I don't think they've got Nando's over there, though, mate. It's going to be difficult.
They have KFC though. It's enough.
That's not the same thing, man. Cheeky Nando's is different.
Kimo, you're a bum, man. I swear down.
Man, we had a fucking Nando's meetup. Where the fuck were you, man?
I wasn't called.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, what do you mean you was called?
Wait, sorry. Let me get a Cam.
What Dave is over there, mate?
Sorry, 1 second. Let me get a Cam quickly. Cam, are you going to the Loma Campbell fight?
Yeah, man.
I told you next time you come down for a London fight to shout me, man.
You're a bum though, man, so.
Yeah. Iced, mate. Iced.
Do you still talk to Ruth?
Loco Mexican. Loco fucking Mexican. Isn't he a gangbanger?
He looks like Vinny Paz.
That's racist, man. Just because he's Mexican doesn't mean he's a gangbanger.
No, that's not why. I apologize to Loco, actually. You know what? That's wrong.
No, Loco's like a fucking boxing referee, bro. He fucking loves the sport probably more than all of us combined. Yeah.
What happened to that bum? Not bum, sorry. You don't talk about. Oh, what's that guy, man? The big guy.
Bruce.
No, not Bruce. I still chat to Bruce sometimes, actually.
Who? And you don't know his name?
Guy, man.
Ski Mask.
Yeah, Ski Mask. What happened to him?
He got locked up, bro. He got deported.
Oh my God.
He's in Mexico. He's in.
Did Ice get him?
No, I don't know what's going on. I think he got married and shit.
Yeah, he was married. He was already married.
Oh, he's got a kid though. I think something big happened in his life, and not referring to his weight.
He got arrested for molesting his patients. He's a male nurse, man.
Yeah, I know he's a nurse. That's how he met his wife. I remember correctly.
Oh, did they? I actually don't know their story. I would love to.
Yeah. Remember, you guys know we used to chat off the shows.
All right, let's not put the story on like the podcast, bro. It's some privacy shit.
We should do a romance themed podcast once.
That's not.
You know, we met Ski Mask, by the way, huh? We went to fucking LA.
We went to LA for that shit fight.
That was a fucking bum, bro.
No, we went to StubHub, man. That was a good card at StubHub.
You guys are bums, man.
No, I wanted to meet his dad, but his dad didn't show up. His dad is like a boss, man. But instead, we just got Ski Mask.
Yeah, Ski Mask was wearing like a Nike Windrunner that was about 4 sizes too small for him.
It was a bit on the tight side, shall we say?
What did you
do?
And Ari, we met Rob Palmer as well.
Oh yeah, that bum.
Rob Palmer from Los Angeles.
Nah, you know what? I respect Rob Palmer in all seriousness. I mean, the guy is getting up there in age, and he's still a pretty good soccer player. or football player like you guys
What
would
do
say.
you mean? Everyone's good at football over here. I mean, compared to you guys, I mean, anyone could go over to America and must really look good.
But Rob is competitive though. Like he actually competes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in shape.
Put some respect on his name, bro.
No, I'm not.
Mate, we met Steve Kim as well.
He's a bum.
You're just dissing the entire scene, and you fucking left, bro. What have you been doing?
Ari, that was one of Chemo's best days of his life, you know.
That was your best day, Cam. Yeah?
Even though he also blocked half of you on Twitter before. But okay.
No, that was the whole. That was the best bit. So we're standing with Steve. Steve's on his phone watching some American football college game, and then the conversation came into like some tweets, and Steve basically and Chemo got into a conversation, and Chemo was like, "Oh, I'm Chemo from Twitter." And Steve was like, "Oh, Chemo!" And he's like, so happy to see him, and I thought they were gonna have like a proper man moment at that specific time.
And you had a fucking hard on, you pervert.
Yeah. We had to convince you to get out of the car, bro.
Yeah, bro. No, we had some good times, man. It's been...
Where's my guy, Kev?
Oh, we met Kev in Brooklyn, man, as well. You've been missing out on all this shit, man. We went to the fucking Barclays Center. We met KH.
I still chat to Kev, you know. I still chat to him.
Yeah, he's got the inside scoops, bro.
I chat to him on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing real good, man. He's in Power as well, by the way, that show. Do you watch it?
I know. Yeah, I know, man. Fucking hell. He nearly killed Ghost last episode.
Spoilers.
He fucking killed... Oh, yeah, I was about to say
spoilers.
That's
all
not
right,
a spoiler. That was the end of season 5.
Yeah,
come on, bro.
How do you know everyone's seen season 5, bro?
If you want a real spoiler, I'll give it to you in a second.
Nah, man.
Nah,
chill.
man. I gotta save that show when I have some fucking time to pay attention, man.
That was very good, man.
Only the best for me, man.
That was a mess.
I don't know why you hate on that show, though. Then honestly, it's good. I know you're a hipster and you like to have watched like intelligence.
He likes like 13 reasons why and stuff like that.
I don't know, man. Whenever I just see like a show being promoted on Instagram by some fucking sponsored Instagram model, like I kind of have a feeling it's a shit show.
Dude, you live off of Instagram models,
right? I mean, like people who fucking promote themselves, and it's like some fucking IG hoe like promoting power. That means the pro show is probably shit, right?
Yeah, but the writing is excellent, mate. Honestly,
no, it's not.
No, it's not, bro.
No, let's really keep it right. Power's not that great. It's just good because people like to see the drug selling and the gunfights.
Then watch Narcos.
Well, Narcos is the 2 seasons, so.
Fucking Narcos is that shit, man.
You just like those 2 faggots dancing, man. Come on.
I just love Colombia and Colombian girls. What can I say?
Don't lie. That dance scene is like your favorite scene ever.
Oh, I love that shit. That shit is beautiful.
I'm pretty sure one of our American listeners is going to freak out about me dropping the F word, but Fuki. It's all good. Do we have anything else to discuss, Ken?
No.
You want to talk about current events?
Nah, I think we should wrap it up.
How long have we been going, man? This is a pretty lit show.
3 hours.
Giving the people what they wanted. Because everybody was bitching, like, you guys don't do shows anymore, blah, blah, blah.
Leo earlier.
Yeah,
mate.
Oh, okay.
You had to go cook dinner for Ruth.
Fucking what?
Don't tell me his wife made him come off.
Of course.
She still bullies him like that.
Obviously.
Mate, he married above his league, so obviously he's got to compromise, and I don't blame him for it.
Oh, man.
I mean, he's just a bitter old man, and Ruth is just a really lovely lady, so he should, he should make sure the food is ready by the time she gets home. That's what he had to do, so.
Oh, yeah, he works from home.
Yeah, you got to respect it, man, you know.
But yeah, I'll try and make the next one. I know I say that all the time. If it's
the next one is going to be in like 4 months already.
Okay, yeah, I'll try and make it.
I don't believe you, man. You're going to be in fucking McDonald's or something.
It'll most only be after Joshua Ruiz too, I'm guessing.
That is true, actually.
Yeah.
What's your take on your boy O'Hara these days, man?
O'Hara, he's not my boy.
Are you both from Hackney, innit?
I'm not from Hackney.
Who's the
I don't know. I'm from a nice area, unfortunately. Not to say anything wrong with Hackney, but I'm from a very nice area.
You can't go to Hackney anymore, bro. You better stop going.
I can go Hackney. I can go Hackney anytime I want. What are you talking about? My uncle's got a nightclub in Hackney.
Nah, bro. You just Hackney now. You can't go.
What is it, like Afrobeats?
No, Afrobeats. Fucking hell, Kimo, stop, man. I'm not Nigerian.
Dude, I'm into the Afrobeat scene these days, man. It's blown up in Dubai, man. I love that shit.
Yeah, they got all them fucking Nigerian ballers over there, all the fraudsters.
Not all Nigerians, bro. There's more to Africa than Nigeria, by the way.
I never said there wasn't, but you said Afrobeats and Nigeria started it. So
what's going on with DeGale, Ari?
He's retired. Thank God.
You know what?
That hurt me, that fight. You know.
Yeah.
He was shot. Man. He was shot.
DeGale.
You watch
shot
it
of all the people. All right, cool. He basically did a barker. Like he took the final paycheck, but literally, come on, man. Like, don't let Eubank. Like, you know what I mean? You let Eubank put your name on his record, man. You know, like, he was shot to pieces.
Did you watch it? Did you watch it live? Harry, did you watch the fight live?
You know, it's funny actually. I was actually doing something at the time, so I was listening on 5 Live or TalkSport. I was just listening on the radio.
Bro, that was DeGale, man. You couldn't watch his last fight
I was
live.
doing something, man. I was making money, man. I'm not gonna tell everyone what I was doing, but I was doing something.
Oh, you were hustling, innit?
I was hustling in some kind of way. I was driving.
Oh shit! Let's get off this subject then.
But yeah, it was unfortunate. Every time, you know, when like, you listen to the radio and it's like, oh, and a big fight, a big punch, and it's like every time it's fucking Eubank. I was like, fucking hell, man.
What hurt you more, the Truex or the Eubank fight?
Oh, Eubank definitely. Truex when you realize you fucking shot to pieces when you're fucking getting beat by someone who got knocked out in one round by was it Jacobs?
And it looks like Cam.
Anthony Durrell knocked him out easy. Fucking yeah, come on, man. Truex. Oh, he's a bum, man. He looks like Cam. It's even worse.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
He does look like you.
And then the rematch, you just see, even though he got him through it, but it wasn't like he dominated. You know, he didn't dominate.
I think DeGale had a bit of a failed career, man. He should have just stayed in the UK. Like this whole
You say that, but he must have made money going to America, and he's still known over here. But again, it's kind of like, I mean, again, I see what you mean because his career is kind of like, what did he really do? All right, cool. You had big fights in America, but it wasn't like there was sellout pay-per-views. They were just standard Heyman fights, you know. But at least he's got that Badu Jack war. You know what I mean? If he just didn't get knocked down in that fucking last round, he would have won that fight. But that fight, as it seems, the show took a lot of him, unfortunately. You know. So.
Do you know if his sister is still single or not?
I've never understood the sister hype. I feel like she looks like him, so I'm not really.
She does actually look like him.
That's why I've always wondered when people say like she put so hot, like she looks like the girl. It's kind of disgusting, even though she is. You know what I mean? It's just weird, man.
No, she's definitely hot, but like she does have his features in her face.
I mean, they have the same bloody face features. It's like the girl with long hair, man.
I think Cam would.
I guess it's all perspective.
But what is he like now, man? Other than being on Celebrity Gogglebox with his dad, what is he fucking doing? Like, is he going to fight someone? I heard he's fighting John Ryder. Is that true?
I've heard that. I don't know if it's set though, but that's a decent fight.
It is a decent fight. John Ryder's doing a good. I mean, he's rebounded quite well his last few fights. I wish he won that fucking Fielding fight because Fielding's a fucking bum and embarrassed himself against Canelo. Well, yeah.
Isn't that one of the greatest names ever, like John Ryder? It sounds like a fucking Game of Thrones character. I really like it.
Sounds like a cowboy.
I just think of that Tupac song, innit? Ambitious as a rider. That's what I'd come out to if I was him.
Oh.
You like that gangster shit, huh?
What else is there?
For sure.
Anything
Too
else?
bad your ambition as a rider is to fucking park with your door open, man. You need to work on that shit.
Bro, you gotta watch the rims, man. You don't want to like scratch at the rims.
Good. Greatest man.
So Cam, who else are you going to the Loma Campbell fight with?
Local's coming with a friend as well, so he'll be there. And Josh just said that he's going. He's mentioned it in the Mixler chat, so try and meet up with Josh as well.
Still chapter 2?
Now and again, yeah, I'd drop a message, but he's just out in the wilderness of Scotland working, so...
They're in Scotland, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh my god, true, man. Who else is there? Roos. I chat to Roos sometimes.
Roos? Is he still alive? Man, that fucker.
Anytime Man United lose, he usually... He stopped recently, but anytime Man United used to lose, he would get onto me. But I think because Chelsea's shit right now, he knows he can't talk.
I haven't heard from Roos for like 5 years, bro. 4 years.
Yeah, exactly.
I've still got him on WhatsApp.
He's not fat.
He's not fat. What's going on with that Argentinian bum?
Oh,
Mal Alpha.
Mal. I was going to say something else.
Isn't it kind of crazy how, like,
He just
we still
disappeared.
have kind of clear memories of people from 4, 5,
Oh
6
my god,
years
you remember Naota, that bomb? What happened to him? You guys still chat to him on Twitter? Or has he fucking lost it and...
Oh no, he still don't know what he looks like. We went to his backyard, he didn't show up. We went to his idol's fight, basically, right? Like Superfly, and then he didn't show up.
Well, you know, that Superfly, he must be like 4'5", you know what I mean?
I still think he's some sort of like 55-year-old accountant from Missouri,
or
something.
like that guy. Who's that guy who used to be on the Boxing Voice? What's his name again?
Beep.
Robbie?
Oh, Ringside Robbie.
Yeah, Ringside Robbie.
Or James the Hater Checker. Fucking God.
You know, it's funny.
No, Ringside Robbie was actually...
You have to commend Ness. He is quite big now. Even as a casual, you see Ness. You know, like all that wilder shit. I mean, even Hearn knows who he is now. You know what I mean? Fucking, he basically called the Boxing Voice the Wilder Voice. You know?
Yeah, but is that really how you want to get known?
No, I'm sure them Heyman checks are lovely.
No, I mean that's fair.
Ness is died, man.
Yeah.
I smoked up with him in his house. That
still
was
funny. I bumped into him. I don't know if you guys. I think I told you guys. I bumped into him. I told Cam actually. I was in Jamaica a couple of years ago, and I bumped into him. We were at the same. We were at the same resort.
That's insane. What did you say to him?
So funny.
Just had a quick convo with him. Yeah, just had a quick. It was his last day when I literally just got there and he was leaving. He's fucking tall, man.
Yo, Ari, I swear, I know this is going to sound really racist, and that's never the way you want to start a conversation with. I know this is going to sound racist, but when I was like 4 years ago, I thought I saw you at the train station.
America.
I swear to God. And then I turned around, I was like, oh my God, is that Ari? But like, I purposely just kind of stood this person, and he didn't know who the fuck I was.
In New York?
London?
No, London.
What station was it?
I don't know, just the one near, I don't know, it's been so long. But
Are you sure
I messaged Cam about this too. You remember
Are you
Cam?
sure it wasn't me?
Well, he doesn't know, innit? Because he's not sure.
It might have been me, but I just maybe forgot that I know a random American Asian guy. So
yeah, I mean, we all do look the same.
Well, I don't know how many years ago it was, but
it was like 4 years ago. It was before before I went to Scotland for the Davies Taylor.
You went to Scotland.
That was 2 years ago.
I did, or whatever the fuck it was.
It could have been me, but it depends. But I don't really catch trains a lot, to be honest with you. But back then, I didn't. I think I was catching more trains actually. So
it probably was you know.
Hey, we went to fucking Josh Taylor O'Hara, mate, all together.
What do you guys think about? That's a segment. What do you guys think about Taylor and Progress? What his name is? Well, Progress is like he doesn't want to fight him because of the money. Or is it?
I got Progress in that fight. I think Progress.
I don't know. He seems like he's not. He doesn't think he can win. And obviously Taylor is a really good fighter, I think. But Taylor did that. I'm surprised Taylor struggled so much with
that Russian guy.
Whatever
he was.
Yeah,
I've been kind of disappointed in Taylor. I thought he was going to be a lot better than kind of what he showed in the last couple of fights.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know too much about Progress, to be honest with you, but I'm rooting for Taylor because obviously I want to win him to fight the guy that beat Hooker. That was a good fight. I was surprised he destroyed like that.
He beat the shit out of that Hooker.
To see her get humbled a little bit, you know what I mean? He's got Hooker there, giving him his own money, even though Hooker's not that great. And then, you know what I mean? He's like gassing him up. And he just got killed.
Bob's clever, you know. Bob only sends out his guys to other networks when he knows that he's going to win. Like Loma coming over here.
Like Crawford when he beat Burns. Remember that?
Yeah.
Ricky Burns.
Ricky Burns is still going on. It's crazy.
Man, he's got no money, man. He got fucked over.
Oh, that was years ago. He must have money by now, surely.
No.
He could pay his mortgage a little bit, but that's it, mate.
You think he still works at the sport shop?
He worked at the sports shop.
Yeah, he used to work at his local sports director.
JD, you work in JD Sports.
Yeah. Seriously, he did. I forgot all about that.
He's the guy who sold me my Adidas cam.
If you were a good deal. Ricky Burns, you would not understand a word he says. I can guarantee you that.
No, I just showed him my phone. I just wrote something on my phone. I told him this is what I need, and he was like, "All right, you just."
What was Liam Smith doing on that card from last week? Like that was so random.
In Mexico.
Yeah.
Hearn's not got anyone. He just got to fill cards up in it.
You just wanted some Mexican puss, sorry.
I'm in the zone now. Did you hear about Callum Smith? Apparently, he's not happy with Hearn.
Why?
I think he feels like he's not getting, like, obviously he hasn't got a fight lined up. I think maybe feels like Hearn doesn't really care about him.
Where's he going to go, though?
I don't know if you guys know about Aid on YouTube. I watch his videos. Boxing Aid.
Not heard of
it.
What? Boxing AIDS? Who the fuck is that?
No, ADE, like a Nigerian guy. He works for ESPN Africa or something like that. I can't remember. But he's got a very good YouTube channel.
Who the fuck is that guy?
No, seriously.
Does he commentate on Makabu or what?
No, the Makabu fight was a good fight. That last fight.
How good is the commentary on South African television? It is the greatest shit ever.
Boxing Talk with A, that's his name on YouTube.
Boxing sounds like Leon's channel, man. Boxing.
Kind of reminds me of that famous Twitter.
Look, I'll send I'll put a link in the chat.
Right in by Makabu.
But what about in it? What did this guy say, Ari?
Apparently, actually, my laptop's gonna stop making noise. Callum Smith is
Molly Bangwe or what?
Molly Bangwe.
Molly Bangwe, the legend. Let me open this shit up.
Are you
what?
Are you gay?
Are you what?
You guys
did he drop off or what? I heard sirens. What happened?
No, it's my laptop. It's fucking the fan's broken.
Man, I thought you were fucking hustling and hacking in it.
Who do you think's gonna win the Super Bowl this year, Ari?
Good question.
Okay, the Pats again?
No,
wait, do you actually follow NFL?
Yeah, I'm a big NFL fan. I watch it.
Man, fucking lit, mate.
Did you not know that, Kimo?
I did not know this. I suddenly like you, actually.
Who's your team?
No, this is how you know I'm loyal. I'm going to tell you my team in a second, and I suffer every year. Miami Dolphins.
What the fuck?
Every year.
How did it happen? Why is Miami your team?
I don't know. I've just always because it's funny. Ever since I was little, I've always known America. When I think America, I always think because I've got my dad's got a cousin in Miami. So anytime I think America, I just think of Miami. So I've always supported Miami Heat, Miami Dolphins. So like I'm one of them guys who supported Heat when Alonzo Mourning was our best player. I know guys will know about that. So when LeBron came and people would be like, "Oh, you support Miami Heat?" I'd be like, "No, I've been supporting Miami Heat since we're fucking shit." You know what I mean? And then thank God we drafted Wade. You know, that's why I don't know if you guys know in the chat. That's why I've always got Wade as my picture. I'm a big Dwayne Wade fan. Well,
you're a Dan Marino guy, huh?
Yep, best quarterback ever. No, best quarterback ever. We never won a Super Bowl, as they say.
Yeah, I was about to say.
But skills-wise, he's probably the best. Skills-wise,
but mate, answer the fucking question. Who's going to be in the Super Bowl?
I don't know. It's early, man. Who I want to win. I don't even know who I want to win because I hate the Patriots, of course. The Rams could do it, but they flopped last year. The Eagles look good. I hate the Cowboys. Steelers look alright. You know what? You know what I'm going to go with? And I know it's the funny one, but I like their team. Cleveland Browns, man. I know they mostly won't do it. I know they won't do it because it's the Browns and the fucking, you know what I mean, it's the Browns, but their team, like, team-wise, they've got the best team. Like, literally, that must be the best team ever. Like, so look at them. They got two of the best wide receivers. They've got a good young quarterback. They've got a good young running back. They've got a great defense. You know, they've literally got no weakness.
No, they have a terrible line.
Their weakness is their coach. I think their weakness is their head coach. He's not, you know what I mean? He's got no experience.
Their weakness is their offensive line.
But
I agree with everything else you said. Yeah, I agree with everything else you said. They're going to be really good. It's just that their O-line isn't very good. But that's why they got Baker. He can go roll out the pocket and find.
Garoppolo's terrible in training as well. I don't know if you guys heard about it.
Who?
Garoppolo, the one they got for Patriots. 49ers.
Yeah. That's because he's fucking around with a porn star, bro.
Is that true? Is he really?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What, is he still with that same one, or is he just going through them?
I mean, he's probably just going through them, man.
Getting too much puss, man.
Can't blame him, but fucking hell, that's some loose pussy.
What do you mean, how do you not learn from the GOAT, Tom Brady, to not chase around those fucking side pieces, man? You got to focus on football.
But Tom Brady married someone who's got more money than him. It's a bit different. You don't see when someone says he doesn't even use his own money. He's always smiling and shit. He's in interviews like, yeah, I don't even use my money and shit. Like, his wife's that rich.
Yeah, but you gotta respect.
I think he doesn't care about his contracts, and everyone's always like, "Oh, he's so great. He does pay cuts because his fucking wife is fucking nearly got $1 billion."
Yeah, but he doesn't let his ego get in the way, man.
You know what? I've got to say, even though I hate the Patriots, I've always respected him. He's a great, he's a great quarterback. But fucking hell, how the fuck did they keep winning, man? Like last year, how the fuck did they win that? You know, the AFC needs to fix up. Steelers need to fix up, but they won't do it because they've lost AB and. I know. Funny, I think Cam's gone quiet, guys. We're talking a lot about NFL. But,
I fell asleep.
Did you watch that AB interview with the mustache?
What do you think about AB? Fucking crazy.
I bet everyone in the boxing chat is like, "Who the fuck? Adrian Broner plays American football." Antonio Brown.
Don't do that, Skip.
Don't do that, Skip.
Just look at the chat. Just look at the chat. How crazy is Paulie that McGregor got in his head that much that the guy went and did bare knuckle fight against a crazy guy and lost.
Yeah.
How did he lose?
He got brawled, man.
Against a guy who can't even fight. Who can't even box, Jesse.
Artem is pretty legit.
Yeah. He's got good hands, bro.
He's got hands, bro.
With McGregor, and he somehow ended up being a bare knuckle fight, spitting and slapping someone before the fight.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You watch MMA, bro, or not?
Yeah, I do, man. I'm a casual. I used to be into it more. But then
Did you watch the last card? The last pay-per-view card?
Yeah, it was great, man.
Yeah, it was really good, huh?
It was good to see Cormier lose as well, because I don't like Cormier. I'm a John Jones fan.
Wow. You love them juices, huh?
Yeah, but I don't think you know what? No, he does juice. We're not talking about
yeah, exactly. You can't even defend that shit.
Was fucking partying. This shows how great he is. The guy was partying and on coke and shit, and he was fucking champion for like 5 years. You know?
Yeah, that is pretty cool, man.
Cormier's done.
If I ever have kids, I want them to be just like John Jones.
Fucking
just do a bunch of coke, go to strip clubs.
They say he ran away and then he ran back to his car to get his fucking the weed and
cash. Yeah, the cash in there.
But if I can be fair to John Jones, it is disputed whether actually he knew the person was pregnant or not. It's just after she turned out to be. No, I mean he possibly could have. I mean he could have gone out his car, seen the condition of her. Maybe he saw her stomach. I don't know. It's possible.
She must have made a killing for a minute.
You're another John Jones apologist, man. You fucking love that guy. I don't know.
Like him, man. Skills wise, he's fucking unbeatable, man.
No, I know. It is a goddamn shame.
That last guy is Santos, but he's great.
Dude, Romero versus fucking.
Romero's a fucking idiot, man. But you have to fucking respect him. Like 44 years old, looks like a fucking god. You know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous. The guy was in the 2000 Sydney Olympics. Nearly 20 years ago, and he's 44 now, fighting guys who are 20 odd. You know what I mean?
I think he's 41.
I love you, Michael.
He's a beast. But he was just fighting like an idiot in that fight. I don't know what's wrong with him, man. Like, it was a great fight, but you know what I mean? He lost. And then good to see Nate Diaz back, of course.
What about are you a fan of Adesanya?
He's alright, but he's getting a bit too cocky.
Yeah, agreed.
He's getting too much shit. Yeah, too much shit. And that Whitaker, everyone knows he's a beast.
Mm.
The guy had a staph infection, and you're talking about he pulled out. Like, it's a fucking staph infection. You can't fight with that.
Yeah. Didn't what's his face Kevin Lee fight with a staph infection against fucking?
Did he know? He didn't know though, did he? That's why halfway through the fight he realized he was really weak, innit?
No, I'm pretty sure he knew before.
And fighting with it.
Hey, I'm going to UFC next week.
Are you? Which fight?
Yeah, man.
Oh, is it in Dubai or
Abu Dhabi, man. Khabib against the
Oh,
Diamond.
that is Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Khabib. Oh yeah, because obviously the Muslim fan base.
Yeah.
Khabib. Man, I loved it when he fucking choked out McGregor like that. I was so happy.
Oh, I was so sad.
Crazy as well. I mean, Khabib's a beast, man.
Man, you know, they added Barboza versus Felder on that card. It's pretty sick.
Yeah.
That's going to be a
You know what card? You know what? Funny, that's the card. That card is terrible. I just remembered now. Other than the Khabib
shit.
On the card is shit. It's like full of lightweights that you don't care about.
It's all Dagestanis, man. It's like all these dudes I've never heard of.
Fucking, they're from the mountains, man. All they do is up there is fucking wrestle bears and shit, innit?
Yeah. Guys. But it's all good, man. I'm going to meet Waterboy Thomas over there. He's going to come do a Q&A, so...
You mean Wonderboy?
Yeah.
You said Waterboy.
Did I say Waterboy?
Yeah, you said Waterboy, you fucking bum.
My favorite movies, man. Have you seen it, Adam Sandler?
Of course I've seen it.
Terrible movie.
Classic. It's a classic.
What do you mean terrible, Cam? Get the fuck out of here. It's a classic
comedy.
comedy.
Coming from you, Cam? Cam, you watch the fucking shittiest movies week after week after week.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Bro, I'm not a Sandler fan, man. I'm just not a fan of it.
Yeah, but you have to be a Sandler fan to watch that. And obviously, Longest Yard's a classic.
Shooter McGavin.
What's the golf one? What's the golf one called again?
Yeah, it's with Shooter McGavin, bro.
Yeah,
it's
that
called
was a classic.
Happy something. Happy
Gilmore. Happy Gilmore. Yeah, that's a classic.
Dude, that is fucking awesome.
Saunders shot down. You got that. I still haven't watched that one with on Netflix. The one with Jennifer Aniston.
Sorry, boys.
Which one?
Fellas, 4-hour limit on Mixler, guys, so I have to cut you guys off.
We gotta cut it up, mate.
Gotta wrap this shit up, man. Get some sleep.
Alright, man.
Ari, great having you on, man. You need to come on more often if you get the chance.
Yeah, I will try, man. It's just a life and shit. And
understandable.
A life of shit.
Sounds like a book title. Chemo, Lim, thank you. Also Leon, who was on earlier. Thank you to all the people in the Mixler chat and all the people that download the show. Be back next month. Peace.
You just listened to the Boxing Coalition.
Dude, man, I love boxing. I fucking love boxing.
A big shout out to the Boxing Coalition.
You're a newbie.
No, I ain't new, man.
If my fucking next door neighbour became the #1 flyweight in the world, you know what I'd do? I'd fucking walk past the cunt.
Derek, how you doing, bro?
I was physically burning you, blood.
I disagree.
First time I hear the show, man, it was fucking badass.
Vamos Argentina, la concha de su madre.
I see the bomb in them.
I get home and she's like, what the fuck? Me and the kid are here. Why don't you get home and talk to us? I'm like, man, you guys don't know shit about boxing.
Kel, how does it feel to be the new IBF champion?
Feels great.
Did we really dive into the black hole right off the jump?
I think he's hiding glass. Just to play devil's advocate.
You want 1 portion of crow or 2 portions of crow?
Give me 2 portions with a supersized fries and a large drink, please.
I can't stand him, what? I'm Scottish.
Cringe side? But you won't rush Anthony fucking fat ass Joshua, would you?
He's not fat.
How about you tell us what you weighed for your final thoughts?
My weight?
Thank you for listening to the Boxing Coalition.